From Peoria Stadium here in Peoria, Illinois, it is the IHSA 5A semifinal between the Peoria High Lions and the Morris Redskins. Two teams looking to get back to the state championship game after a few years' absence. Peoria won it in 2016. Morris, runner-up in 2017. These two teams have played together in the same sort of game just 6 years ago. It should be another dandy of a ball game here this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Peoria Stadium. I am Jonathan Michael, and next to me is Gavin Russell. And Gavin, Peoria comes into this one 11-1, Morris 10-2. Both teams, strong offense, strong defense. It's going to be a phenomenal matchup here, and what is going to be a very chilly afternoon.
It is very chilly indeed, but couldn't think of better football weather for a big semifinal matchup. Morris is definitely one of the best teams in Class 5A for good reason, as is Peoria High. You may get a glimpse of them on your camera there on your screen. Peoria High takes the field, both very strong teams.
And you look at today's forecast right now, the temperature's 30. It feels like 14 degrees. We're up here in the press box up at Peoria Stadium. Normally, for our broadcast here, we're over in the opposing bleachers, but Gavin, given this cold, I don't even know if that would be possible, but still very, very cold here. Again, winds west 20 miles an hour. Keep an eye out for that as well. And Gavin, another thing to watch for in terms of the conditions here is Peoria Stadium and the field itself. That could be an advantage for the Lions today, as you were talking to head coach Tim Thornton.
Yeah, I talked to Tim Thornton about this, and it's one of the things that kind of is a little difficult for opposing teams to come play on is this Peoria High turf, especially a team like Morris that's so much more used to playing on a tight-knit turf, artificial turf surface. This is definitely going to be a challenge on a pretty chewed-up grounds here. They do a good job maintaining them. A lot of games are played here. Definitely a tough test for the Redskins.
As we're just about getting set for kickoff here, we're going to have a quick break for our great sponsors and come back with the kickoff here from Peoria Stadium. Don't go anywhere. Live playoff coverage coming up on Clutch Sports Media.
Passionate, focused, strong, qualities that you look for in a great athlete, and also a great lawyer. At Strong Law Offices, injury law is at the heart of what we do. Our team is on your side. When the game is on the line, let us tackle your claim.
We know there's only one thing you want to save on this November.
And we got them. Tons of Jeeps in stock. We got Grand Cherokees, Gladiators.
What? No, we're over here talking about the best deals on Ram with 0% financing and savings we haven't seen in years.
Whatever. How about Adventure with $5,000 off brand new Jeeps? And best part is, no payments for 90 days.
Shop our Black Friday sales event now through November 30th.
Only here at Sam Lehman of Peoria.
You know, prepping my meals for the whole week saves me a lot of time. And it helps me keep an eye on my spending, and that's even better, right? SafeQ does that too. Anytime, anywhere. And I can talk to a real person when I need to. My account has no monthly fee, so I can use my SafeQ debit card everywhere. At the grocery store, ATMs, and, well, here. So I don't have to eat my own cooking every day. Hi, everybody!
SafeQ, not a bank, better.
Kickoff, Morris will receive here in this very chilly afternoon. Again, glad you're with us here for the Class 5A state semifinal on Clutch Sports Media. And Jonathan Michael here along with Gavin Russell. And Gavin, this Morris team coming in off a 35-14 victory over Mahomet Seymour. An emphatic win. Peoria, they won 36-21 in their first road game of the playoffs down in Mascoutah. Second half comeback, which the Lions scored 22 unanswered to down their opponent.
Yeah, both teams have played dominant performances here in the playoffs. We were here last time Peoria played a home game in the playoffs. That was against Kankakee, and they were a very good team last year, very good team this year. Peoria was able to take them down in a big way. So certainly two great teams and both deserving of being in this spot. Road to state on the line. Couldn't ask for higher stakes here on Clutch Sports Media.
Morris trying to get to state for the first time since 2017. Peoria trying to do it for the first time since 2016, where they won the state championship. And Gavin, for Peoria, it seems like that every time that they have a deep playoff run, they got to get past Morris. They did it in 2016. They also did it in 2014 as well. And Gavin, you were at that game back in 2016. This current Lions squad trying to live up to the legacy that their predecessors 6 years ago set.
Yeah, that was an exciting matchup. That game was at Morris, and kind of note in that game, Morris used to have natural grass at that point in time, so maybe it would have done them some good if they still had it, but they have a nice new turf field now. Got to, again, deal with the challenge here at Peoria Stadium. It looks like the delay we're having, John, is a scoreboard issue. So scoreboard not working at the moment, so they're trying to sort that out, maybe proceeding without it. But either way, the exciting action is on the field. Don't need to worry about a scoreboard.
Certainly, that's all just decorative at this point. No scoreboard, but we are ready for football. Ricky Hearn ready to kick off for Peoria. Again, the Lions, their trademark onside kicks. There's the scoreboard. Ball fell off the tee, and Hearn will do it again. You may need someone to hold that down.
May indeed. Go with the trademark onside kick. Here we go.
Here we go. The kick is away, and we are playing football here in Peoria. Onside kick is recovered by Morris. That was number 10, Sam Mateski, the junior wide receiver, falling on that one. So the Redskins will take the field under quarterback Carter Button. 6'2" junior took over for All-State quarterback Zach Romack last year. Or this year, rather. He's lived up to expectations, leading this Morris squad deep into the playoffs. The deepest they've gone since 2017.
He's done a really good job, and that's some big shoes to fill, John, but kind of looking at some stats, weren't able to get full season stats from Button, but through 5 weeks, he was passing 37 of 51, 8 touchdowns, and 3 rushing.
Full house bet. And not much doing there. That carry looks like it went to Ashton Yard, the senior.
They've got a couple of backs in the backfield that are definitely going to take the ball a lot. 30 carries last week for Ashton Yard.
2nd and 9 from the 49-yard line. Again, 3 or maybe even 4 men in the backfield. It is 3. 2nd and 9 from their own, the Peoria High 49. Button hands it off, again, up the gut. We might see a lot of runs like this on this cold afternoon. And a gain of about 3 or so. And that was Sam Redinger, the Northern Iowa commit. One of the most dynamic players on this Morris squad. 3rd and 6 coming up for Morris. No players split out wide. They've averaged about 38 points per game this year. Toss goes outside, and right away the Lions wrap him up. Looks like that was Tawan Smith, one of the biggest playmakers on this Lions defense. And the punt squad comes out for Morris on their first drive of the game.
How about a whole pride of Lions coming in there, hitting him early at the line. Morris recovered the ball at the 50 on the onside kick, and they get all about 2 yards, maybe just 1.5. So a really good opening drive from Peoria High. Got to get the legs warm coming off the bus. We'll see if Morris can stand tall on defense.
Punt is away, and it's a good one inside the 20 and angle near the sideline. Ball rolling in, not out of bounds. Right down at the 14, so a nice punt there. Redskins, and Peoria High will have about 86 yards in front of them on their opening drive of the field. Again, glad you're with us here at Peoria Stadium in this very cold matchup. You may see that we don't have a scoreboard cam, as we typically do for our broadcast, but we will try and keep you up to 10:02 left here in quarter number 1. Morris, a 3-and-out on their first drive of the game. And Tino Gist, the junior quarterback for Peoria, will get his first chance to line up with Malachi Washington in the backfield. Washington makes the cut, and he is wrapped up there by number 22. Will Knapp was the first Redskin to get there.
Will Knapp doing a nice job in there, and that's one big thing that Malachi Washington can do is even if he doesn't have much space, he can break tackles, get free into the open field. Good open field tackling right there from Will Knapp.
2nd and 7. Peoria High again, a quick offense, then a quick running back to go with it. Malachi Washington, he is pumped up, and it looks like he fumbled the football, Gavin. That ball came out, and Morris celebrated on the sideline, and they have the football deep in Peoria territory.
Wow, what a quick momentum shift right there. You didn't expect to see that. Malachi Washington, not usual of him to fumble the football like that, but pops out. It's a cold day. Hands are probably stinging a little bit, and Morris with an early swing of momentum as they'll get the ball back for their second offensive possession.
And Gavin, one thing to watch today, we talked about it already a lot, is the weather. Peoria High's lone loss of the year back in Week 8 against Normal West, in which they lost 30-6, was because they had 5 turnovers in wet conditions. Obviously, it's dry here today, but are the Lions up for the challenge of playing in unfavorable conditions? Again, a very speedy team that probably enjoys playing in warmer conditions as well. We'll get a timeout here, looks like from Peoria High. And we'll take this quick break to remind you that today's broadcast, we want to thank our great sponsors. Our guy, Jake Weston, State Farm in Washington.
Passion.
For all your insurance needs,
Focus.
give Jake a call.
Strong.
309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. And also for our other great sponsors and good neighbors from State Farm as well, Jody Brown in Peoria, Jake Weston in Washington. The phone numbers or websites listed there on your screen. I want to thank them so much for their support of high school athletics all throughout the fall 2022 season.
Done a great job supporting high school athletics. It's been a fun football season, and couldn't think of a better way to cap it all off. Morris is going to line up here right after recovering the fumble. Hands it off here.
1st and 10 for Morris, and that was Redinger. He gets a couple yards. He's inside the 20, bringing a whole pack of Lions along with him. He's still on his feet. Look at those legs turn. 1st down for Morris, and that's how you establish your presence in the early going. 3-and-out early on, but nice resilience getting back and really showing this Peoria High defense that they got to come to play this afternoon.
They certainly will. It is going to be paramount that the Lions can stand tall again. Redskins trying to do something about it.
Peoria High, this defense struggled a bit in the first half against Mascoutah last week, at least by their standards, giving up 21 points. And the Lions only give up about 18 or so per game, but they were up to the challenge in half number 2 and shut them out en route to a 36-21 victory. Another full house backfield for Morris. This one goes up the middle. And not much gain there. Looks like Redinger was on the carry again. The UNI commit not going very far there.
This game's definitely going to start and end in the trenches. It's something that we hammer so much. We talk about how big the lines for both sides are, but both these teams have some big presences, offensively and defensively. How about for Morris, Justin Himmersbach, all-state player, academic all-state, 4-year starter, has some D1 interest as well. There are some big presences in the trenches.
Some big offensive linemen on both sides. It looks like that may have been Yard, or rather from Morris, that was A.J. Zweers, their wide receiver, multi-positional player, for a gain. That will bring up 4th down and short. 4th and 4 to be exact on the 11. So what does Morris do here, Gavin?
I think you got to go for it. You got to kind of match Peoria High's aggressive style, and I do expect them to do so. Field goals are not going to win you this game. You got to be able to go for it here, see if the Lions can stand tall.
Yard and Zweers, 2 of the 3 in the backfield. And it's Zweers along the near sideline. He's in for the touchdown. Morris strikes first with just under 8 minutes to go here in the quarter number 1.
I don't think our viewers got to see the tail end as we're confined to the tight quarters of the Peoria High press box here, but really nice job there. Got an open hole and ran right through it. I think maybe caught Peoria High a bit off guard there with the play call.
A.J. Zweers, the junior who scored 2 touchdowns last week, finds pay dirt on Morris's second drive of the game. And not an unfamiliar sight for the Lions. They are trail 6-0. There's a flag here on the PAT. This may be going against Peoria. Yes, it is offside. And as soon as the referee made that call, Gavin, Morris players sprinted off the field. Looks like they're going to go for 2.
Yeah, might as well. You get a couple extra steps up towards the goal line, give you a chance to go up 8-0. And again, in a game where Peoria High is always going to go for 2, getting a 2-point conversion here could be huge for an early start for the Redskins.
Morris trying to give Peoria a little bit of taste of their own medicine. Again, the Lions, you won't see them kicking any extra points. They always go for 2. And they also always onside kick as well. A very interesting brand of football that Peoria plays. Head coach Tim Thornton has mastered it to perfection. That's why they're this deep in the playoffs. Full house backfield again. Quarterback sneak for Button. It looks like he got the push. Nick Perry, Aiden King, Justin Hemmersbach, Justin Newman, and the rest of the Morris offensive line gets the job done. And Carter Button, the junior quarterback, sneaks in for 2. Morris leads 8-0.
Really nice job there for Morris, capitalizing on the turnover. They get it on 4th and short for the touchdown, and then get in for 2 more, taking advantage of some early Peoria High mistakes.
Peoria High looking for a response now. We'll see what Malachi Washington, Tino Gist, Ricky Hearn, TQ Webb, and company can do to rebound after Washington fumbled on the second play of the game for Peoria. Take a look at these playoff history between these two teams, Gavin. We mentioned it a bit in the open, but back in that graphic, actually, I believe is wrong. Back in 1989 was the first time these two teams played in the playoffs. Morris took that one, but in 2014 and in 2016, Peoria High won both of those contests. So these two teams pretty familiar with themselves come playoff time.
They go back a few generations, but both have great brands of football, excellent programs, and kick it off right here.
Kick is away for Morris. A high arcing kick, and it's fumbled there. Looked like either a returner for Peoria. Looked like that may have been Eli McFadden who had trouble corralling that ball. Peoria High does retain possession, though, but something to keep an eye on. Lions struggling to hold on to the ball. Something interesting about Peoria that I saw this week, Gavin, that maybe some of our viewers saw also as well, is that they practice all but one practice, I believe, at the Louisville Slugger Complex, an indoor turf facility over near Dunlap to keep them out of the cold. And then they practice, I believe, once in the elements. Handoff goes to Washington up the middle. He's free. Malachi Washington is free down the sideline. That's a scary sight, and he has enough speed to answer. He rumbles 75 yards for a Peoria touchdown. And he said, forget the fumble. I'm coming to play. And that is at least his 30th touchdown of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Malachi Washington, nothing short of amazing, an all-state player. He shakes off for a clutch run right there. I think you fumble, maybe you try to be a little more conservative, but takes it right to the teeth of the Morris defense and gets in for 6, trying to match it, going for 2.
Yeah, if I look down at my notes, that makes it over 40 touchdowns now for Washington. They hand it off to him for the 2-point conversion. He's going to be really close. Nice effort by the Redskins D, but Washington is in, and Peoria High has tied this ball game at 8 with 7.5 minutes to go in quarter number 1.
Ricky Hearn fired up coming off the field on that one for good reason. Peoria High tying it up at 8. Back and forth we go here in the first quarter. 7:34 left to play.
What a ball game this is shaping up to be. Fast-paced, competitive. This Morris team, again, our viewers may not be as familiar with them. Team from around Joliet, around that area, on the very, very far outskirts of Chicago, but this is a very physical football team.
Yeah, they are very physical indeed. They like to hit hard. They've got some players on the defense that we'll kind of talk about throughout this game. Brock Grogan, one of those big hitters for the Morris Redskins. They're just a physical football team. That's something Tim Thornton told me. They always play tough. They play a tough brand of football. It's something that Peoria High definitely has to watch in this game.
All tied up at 8 after the 75-yard gallop from Malachi Washington. Onside kick coming from Peoria, and it is recovered by Morris at the Lions' 48-yard line. That was A.J. Zweers who scored the touchdown for Morris on the recovery.
You might be wondering, if you're perhaps a Morris fan or watching from out of town, why does Peoria High onside kick? Just the way they play. A little unorthodox, sure, but it's gotten them to the point they are right now. Last week, or rather 2 weeks ago, against Kankakee, Peoria High recovered not 1, not 2, but 3 onside kicks.
They recover at least a couple every game, it seems like. Button the pitch to Redinger, gets inside the 45 before he's wrapped up there by Landon Newby Wholesome and Tawan Smith. This linebacker unit for Peoria, Gavin. Smith, Gary Rutherford, Rontavis Lee, a fearsome unit that is always flying the football, it seems like.
Yeah, you got to think about the Rutherfords as well on that defense. There's just some big bodies and probably one of the best Peoria High defenses in a long time.
That was what head coach Tim Thornton said before the season, as a carry there goes to Ashton Yard, bringing up 1. But Gavin, me and you went to a Peoria High practice way back in August when it was much. That, one thing about this team is, this is going to be the best defense we've had in a long time. And it certainly has been the case. Allowing just a hair over 18 points per game. A shutout in there as well. A couple other teams they've held to under 17 points. Not many have gotten that far. Morris, though, has 8. About 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go here. 3rd and 5. Pitch goes to Redinger again. Will he have space? He drives it to the outside, and no, he will not. That was number 50 for Peoria. Patrick Jordan leading the charge for the Lions, and Morris goes 3 and out for the second time in the early going.
Man, what a nice job there by Peoria High. Standing tall, and they'll bring the punt out at you again. Again, except for that fumble that led to a Morris score, Peoria High has done an excellent job defensively. And again, part of the reason that they've been so good, Tim Thornton describes a lot of sideline-to-sideline players.
Punt is away from Morris, and it gets a Redskins bounce down near to about the 15. So A.J. Zweers getting it done punting as well. Yes, he ain't kick return, he punt returns, he punts, he runs the ball, he catches. He does everything for this Morris squad as Peoria High takes the field for the 3rd time today. And Gavin, One thing that I'm curious to watch today is if Peoria High is going to air it out a bit, because their wide receivers like Ricky Hearn and TQ Webb have played phenomenally in the postseason, but with these conditions, do you want to throw a lot today? Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Yeah, I figured that it's been working so well. We've seen some big performances in the playoffs from the Lions' passing attack maybe go to that, but the cold could stifle that.
1st and 10 here, and as Malachi Washington out across the 20 before he's pushed back by a whole heap of Morris players, bringing up about a 2nd and medium. Malachi Washington for Peoria was recently named an all-state pick by the IHS FCA, that's the Illinois High School Football Coaches Association, and his teammate and actually his blocker, Landon Newby-Holston, you see him number 40 there at fullback. He picked up honorable mention all-state honors. As the give goes to Washington again for a little gain, but Gavin, Landon Newby-Holston is really a player that is underrated a lot on this Lions squad.
Yeah, he does the dirty work and kind of fits in the little small areas, although I saw him against Kankakee catch 3 passes, including a long 75-yard touchdown. So he can do just a little bit of everything, but definitely does a lot of blocking for Washington.
They call him the Bone Cruncher. The Bone Crusher, rather. Flings it out to Ricky Hearn, and he's out across the 30. Move the sticks. And a nice little out route to his senior wide receiver. And Tino Gist has the Lions on the move. 1st and 10 from the 31 with 4 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in quarter 1.
Yeah, smart play call. Morris expecting the run, but nice pass.
And Washington is tripped up almost as soon as he got the football. This Morris defensive line, Gavin, headed by Justin Hemmersbach, who you mentioned earlier, an all-state player. Ryan Wolenchuk, an all-conference defensive tackle. You'll see him number 68, and Nick Perry, number 66, who has offers from multiple FCS colleges. Washington gets the give as he nears the 40. And another 3rd down situation looming for the Lions.
Went to the pass last time on 3rd down, kind of just a little short hook route to Ricky Hearn. Perhaps they go in that direction again.
3rd and 3. Handoff goes to Washington, breaks the tackle. He's across midfield, and Peoria High, 2 straight 3rd down conversions, and they are starting to pick things up offensively as they enter Morris territory.
That's why I'm not calling the plays, John. You just give it to Washington, your trusty back. He'll pick up more than enough for the 1st down. Lions move past midfield.
Peoria High, wider formation than Morris has. 3 wide receivers that probably puts less people in the box to defend. Malachi Washington, who gets the give again across the 40, and he is starting to heat up. You can almost feel it.
You talk
Gain of
about
9 there.
Talk about the bone crusher. Saw Landon Newby-Holston just go right into the teeth of the defense right there, throwing down a big block. Again, goes unnoticed a lot, but we like to give love to all those unnoticed guys here on Clutch Sports. Landon doing a fantastic job this season, looking to help carry the Lions to a victory.
Morris, a team that's good against the run, as head coach Alan Thorson said, but against the pass, Tino Gist finds Ricky Hearn again on the. Are putting together a very good-looking drive as they near the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 22. About 2.5 minutes left to go here in the 1st quarter. Yes, motions Newby-Holston to the left side. Handoff goes to Frank Odom, the backup, and he's running, still on his feet, down to the 6 before he's brought down by Will Knapp. But how about Frank Odom? Almost got into the end zone, ran into his own lineman, Gavin. Was too fast almost, and just right into the back of Odom, gets the carry again, and he is got a push, and Frank Odom, the Peoria High senior running back, is in. Lions lead 14-8 on a very quick scoring drive.
Odom getting some work in, taking a little ball for Malachi Washington, let him keep his legs fresh. Really good effort right there, and a nice push from the Lions offensive line. Now take the lead 14-8. Malachi Washington knows a thing or two about 2-point conversion tries. Let's see if he can get 2 more.
He was a 2-point specialist last year, and he'll just walk in untouched. Nobody along the left side of the field for Morris, and Peoria High has jumped out to a 16-8 lead over Morris as they try to get back to state for the first time since 2016.
Peoria High doing a lot right at the moment. Again, it's a long game. Still got 2:12 left to go here in the first quarter, but excellent effort so far from the Lions.
And yeah, we'll take a quick break to remind you that today's game is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, give your guy Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. It's Jake from State Farm. And also a nice word for our other sponsors as well, Jody Brown here in Peoria. 309-693-1103, jodybrown@agency.com, and Zach Butler, 309-347-3115, or at sfbutler.com. 16-8, Peoria leading, 2:12 to go here in the first quarter, and a deep kick by Peoria, at least by their standards. Recovered there by Wheeler, number 27 on Morris. And they will start this drive at about their 37-yard line.
Saw some hand warmers fall out of the pocket there on the 40-yard line. Got to pick those up. Need them today, John. I know we're using the hand warmers as well. Can't imagine being out there on the field. It's much warmer here in the booth.
Much warmer, you think, Gavin, but I don't know about you. My toes, I started to lose feeling in them. It's only the first quarter. It's probably not a good sign.
Not a good sign, but we roll with it anyway. We've got some great football action. Morris looking to respond.
1st and 10 from the 35. As Zweer's in motion for Morris, the handoff goes to Yard, and they'll pick up a couple. A good push from the offensive line. He's still going. This is really just gonna be a grinded out football game, isn't it, Gavin?
Oh, it is. And again, football guys is how Tim Thornton describes them. You know, they are a football program. They turn out just tough, physical players in every facet of the game. Offensive line, all the way to the defensive backs, it doesn't matter. Morris is going to play tough.
Zweer's the lone man at the bottom of your screen again. As the Redskins will look to the sideline for the play call again, possibly an audible. Button barks to the offensive line, ready for 2nd and 5. Handoff goes to Ashton Yard again. He's looking for yardage along the right side, and he'll get close to the first down after being pushed out by Frank Odom, who just scored the touchdown for the Lions. So Frank Odom getting a good amount of snaps here early on. And Gavin, you know, I know you've called a couple Peoria games this year, as have I, but you know, Frank Odom is another guy as well who, again, not the first guy you look at on the scouting report, but really can make a difference. There you start on the defensive end, but he can really be a formidable running back as well.
Yeah, good programs have a lot of those guys you don't necessarily expect early on, but can make you pay.
3rd and 2 for Morris. Handoff goes to Yard, and he might be a yard short. Down at the 44 is what the refs say. They needed the 45. And what a great stop by the defensive line of Peoria High.
Going to be inches here, so not even a yard to get for Yard.
It quite literally up here from the booth looks like inches. Maybe about a foot. Looks like Morris will go for it. Can they get the push against Landon Newby Wholesome and the rest of the Peoria High defensive line? All 11 men in the box for Peoria. Right up the gut. It's impossible to see where he is, but the referee looks like Ashton Yard got the first down by just a couple hairs.
Very close indeed, but I mean, they were just about on top of the first down marker. Didn't have much to go, and just a big enough hole to get through. Ashton Yard. Morris stays alive, and they get to reset with a fresh set of downs.
Ashton Yard, the all-conference pick, had 30 carries for 150 yards last week as Time winding down here in quarter number 1. 5 slants to go. This will be the last play. Zweers looking for room along the outside. He's across the 50 with a burst of speed. And that is where we will end the first quarter. Peoria High gets a pair of touchdowns from Malachi Washington and Frank Odom. Morris got on the board first, though, with A.J. Zweers, and they are driving to start the second quarter. We'll take a quick break and come back for more live playoff football action from Peoria Stadium.
All right. Do you see the world the way I do? My mom says I play too many video games, but what she doesn't know is that I'm actually making more money than she is as a YouTuber.
Lacey, do you know why there's a new car in the driveway with a bow on it?
You're welcome, Mom. At OSF Healthcare Children's Hospital of Illinois, they see the world the way I do. They put kids first, with care designed just for me.
Welcome back to Peoria Stadium in Peoria, Illinois. One of the most historic venues, historic structures, really in the entire area, Gavin. It's very chilly here on this weekend before Thanksgiving. Glad you're with us here on ClutchSportsIL.com. Peoria High leads Morris 16-8 here as we get started for quarter number 2. 3 men out wide for Carter Button and Morris. He motions Ashton Yard, his running back, out as well. He's going to look deep, and he is looking for Will Knapp. Incomplete. Forced deflection there. It looks like that may have been Tawan Smith.
Well, I'm just looking up at the flag flying here on the right end zone, right to us. And the wind is just absolutely howling in, so that ball perhaps did not get much of a... No, not a flag on the field, John. Rather, the American flag that's flying to our right. It is howling inwards. That ball likely was affected by the wind. You said around 20 miles per hour.
Gavin, you said flag, and I thought I saw it on the field as well. As that's Zweers on the keep, and he'll pick up the first down across the 45-yard line. So, again, the Swiss Army knife. A.J. Zweers, who's just a junior, picks up the first down for Morris.
Zweers has done a really good job this year. He's been, again, that Swiss Army knife you're talking about, gets those all-purpose yards.
He's in motion here, and he'll get the handoff. End around, he has only one man to beat. That's Frank Odom inside the 15, and Odom runs him out of bounds near the 10. A pickup of 33. A.J. Zweers has been the guy for Morris here in this first half.
A.J. Zweers, and he's a junior, multi-sport athlete, 3-sport athlete, in fact, basketball and baseball player. Shows off on all facets of the game. He's had multiple touchdowns this year. He had 8 touchdowns through 5 weeks.
Morris has momentum, looking for the response. This handoff. And goes to number 36, Jacob Swartz, the junior running back. So we've already seen 5 players carry the ball for Morris, Gavin. Ashton Yard, Sam Redinger, Jacob Swartz, a running back, wide receiver A.J. Zweers, and their quarterback, Carter Button. There'll be one man out wide, that's Zweers. He's in motion. Ashton Yard to the left of Button. He'll get the carry right into the right side, and he is wrapped up there. Looks like that was Gary Rutherford, the middle linebacker for Peoria, who's been one of the heart and soul players of this defensive squad. Tim Thornton said that the speed that we have at middle linebacker is some of the best we've ever had.
Yeah, that's a really key position, a kind of an all-purpose position on defense, and Rutherford has done a fantastic job. Again, sideline to sideline, he is all over the place and a hard hitter as well.
Middle linebackers are the quarterbacks of the defense. It looks like it's Zweers taking the snap at the Wildcat, and he will run free into the end zone, and A.J. Zweers puts Morris back within 2 points. The second touchdown of the game for the junior, and Morris makes it a 16-14 ball game with 10:22 to go in the second quarter.
Well, if you want to know a key player for Morris, how about A.J. Zweers? 2 touchdowns in the early going. We're just not even a couple minutes into the second quarter. 10:22 to left to play in the second frame. A.J. Zweers putting on a show.
He's ran the ball. He can catch the ball. He can punt the ball as well. And he'll take this snap in the Wildcat again. He's looking for a room, and he's wrapped up. First one there for Peoria was number 30, Isaiah Walker. And Peoria High will maintain their lead 16-14. And they stop the 2-point conversion. How about the speed there from Walker getting right to him right away.
Nice job right there. And again, it's a game of 2-point conversions at this point. Really no extra points likely or field goals will be attempted in this game. So going to come down to those extra 2 points if teams can get them or not. Peoria High making a big stand.
That stop may have gone to LeBron Mack, Gavin. Again, a couple players with they roll up their jerseys a bit. It's tough to see whether that's a 20 or a 30. Well, either way, whoever it was for Peoria, whether it was Mack or Walker, a huge play to maintain the Peoria lead. 16-14 here at Peoria Stadium with 2 football teams that seem to see each other a lot deep in the playoffs. Peoria High went to the semifinals in 2014. They beat Morris to get there. They won the state title in 2016. They beat Morris to get there. And what do you know, on November 19th, the same date of the month that they played back in 2016, they face off with them again. They lead 16-14 as Ricky Hearn fields the kick. Out across the 20, running right up the middle, and he is wrapped up near the 35. Good return of about 20 or so for the Peoria High wide receiver. And that is where Gist and the Lions will start their first drive of quarter 2.
Lions have looked efficient on offense. They started with that first possession fumble. It was their second play from scrimmage, but certainly have not let them slow them down at all. Malachi Washington with a big touchdown run. Frank Odom finding the end zone. A host of Lions coming in as some flurries start to fly.
Newbie Holston, the fullback, lines up at tight end. Handoff goes to Washington. He's tripped up near the line of scrimmage, but still gets some good yardage near the first down marker. That'll bring up a 2nd and inches as a couple of flurries start to come down here at Peoria Stadium. Didn't see that in the forecast, but I'll admit I didn't really look at it. I just knew it was going to be cold. So why even look at it in the first place?
Well, I guess if snow's in the forecast, may have should have looked at it, but but certainly it's Central Illinois weather. You really never know what you're going to get, but adds to the ambiance of playoff football, if you would say it that way.
Officials say it's first down in front of the 45-yard line. Washington the give again, breaking a couple arm tackles. Morris is going for his legs, trying to hit him low, and seems like Washington is kind of almost bouncing over them.
He's everywhere, and he does such a great job of staying composed and breaking tackles.
And another going quick is Peoria High. Washington again inside the 41, so Morris not even getting a chance to catch their breath. And the Lions are racing down the field. Washington in the backfield. Newbie Wholesome near the bottom of your screen, number 40. Handoff goes to Washington again. Another good block from Newbie Wholesome as Washington picks up about 6 on 2nd and 4. As we move our camera a bit, again with these windows closed here in this Peoria Stadium press box, a couple of dividers that obviously I'm sure you, the viewers, don't want to see, but yeah, I want to thank our great cameraman Charlie Schermerhorn being able to adapt. Frank Odom gets a big hit from Morris. That was number 18, Matt Stark, laying the wood there, but Odom still picks up the first down. Peoria now inside the 30. Just under 9 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Odom will get the carry again, breaks a tackle inside the 20. And can they stop Peoria? They can't. Frank Odom is still going. Oh my word. Down to the 6-yard line. And they push that pile, Gavin, at least 5 to 10 yards. That's unbelievable.
I'm speechless. What an excellent run right there. Frank Odom has been quietly the key to this game so far. Again, already with a touchdown and some big plays. Looks like we got a timeout with 8:37 left to go here in the second frame.
How about Frank Odom? You think this Peoria High team wants to go to state? Because that's the sort of play that shows that they want this more than anybody else right now. Morris, though, again, still hanging tough with them. They've been able to punch Peoria right back when they've gotten punched themselves, but great football game early on here. 16-14 with 8:37 to go. And yeah, I've been looking at both of these coaches. One thing we talked about, lots of similarities between them as well, between Alan Thorson and Tim Thornton.
Well, their names are pretty similar, but they both coach great football teams. 13th season on both sides. Their records nearly identical. Both have done a fantastic job and have led excellent programs.
Alan Thorson and Tim Thornton, neither one of them are strangers to deep playoff runs. As Peoria High hands it off to Washington, and he raises the finger up in the end zone, and that is number 2 for the senior running back. Peoria leads 22-14. Malachi Washington, another multi-touchdown game.
Continuing that trend, and Peoria High churns out running backs like nobody else. Last time these two teams matched up, it was Geno Hess. This time, Malachi Washington.
Geno Hess, one of the greatest football players in Peoria High history, is Washington trying to stretch it to the outside. And how about that? He ran east and west until he found a hole and then went north and south. Tremendous vision, and Peoria High picks up the 2-point conversion.
Big stiff arm there for Malachi Washington. He's not just fast, folks. He is strong, too.
The Lions lead at 24-14, and their offense looks unstoppable. With 8.5 minutes to go here in quarter number 2. 3 rushing touchdowns, and the one mishap was that fumble from Washington, and head coach Tim Thornton said that the real biggest key in this game is how we handle adversity. They didn't handle adversity well in Normal West, their only loss of the season. And they have a fumble on their opening drive of the game. And since then, they have come back with a resounding roar.
Certainly have. And that's one thing when I talked to Tim Thornton, he mentioned they know they weren't 100% prepared for that Normal West games, acknowledged a lot of their flaws in that matchup, but knows that they can be better. And he knows they've gotten better since that time, which feels like forever ago, John, although it was just week 8 of the season. Feels like a long time, but they've grown a lot since then and have become a much better football team.
Since then, Peoria High reeled off big wins over Peoria Notre Dame 48-7. They throttled MacArthur in the first round of the playoffs 62-14. Toppled Kankakee 48-21, and then won at Mascouda last week 36-21. Onside kick is away, and they have a chance to get it. And there's a flag there on the field. Looks like it will be on Morris. Looked like that may have Swartz, the one who picked it up, may have crossed the line before the ball had traveled 10 yards.
It looks like it actually might be a false start on Peoria High.
Rather it is, yes. It is a false start on Peoria High. The referee motioned like it was a penalty towards Morris. Not sure what the mix-up was there. Yep, the head referee now makes the correction. It is a false start, so Ricky Hearn, the Lions wide receiver and onside kicker, will take this one from the 35.
Wonder if they maybe try to boot it a little farther here.
As he does, he puts it right over their heads. Ball bouncing near the 40 and having trouble with his Morris. And Peoria High could have that one, but it looks like the Redskins were able to recover, and they did. That was 36. Swartz, the running back, picking it up, so he slid on it. Kind of lost it there, but was able to regain it, and Morris will take over on the 36-yard line. What a football game this has been. Again, thank you for joining us here on ClutchSportsIL.com for what will be the final football game of our broadcast season, at least for football. We'll have lots of basketball coming up, as I'm sure you can all assume. But for right now, it's Peoria High. Wrapping them up in the backfield. There's a late flag there. Looks like this may be a face mask. But coming in right away was Patrick Jordan and a couple other. It may have been Isaiah Walker, the senior again, helping Jordan.
Did a lot right at the moment, but just grabs the face mask at the end. A costly penalty. Kind of just brought him down. I don't think it was intentional at all. Just kind of got wrapped up there. Kind of grabbed onto the face mask, and it cost the Lions 15 yards.
That gives a big swing to Morris, Gavin, who, again, the Lions don't like giving big swings, momentum swings to other teams. That's why they onside kick. That's why they don't punt. Could this be a momentum swing here back in Morris's favor? They trail by 10 with a hair over 8 minutes to go here in the second quarter. 1st and 10 from the 46. Button with 2 men in the backfield. Button, the quarterback rolls out. He's going to look for Zweers, covered by Rutherford, and he brings it in. What a catch from A.J. Zweers. Down at the 35. A gain of about 19, and Gavin, Kenny Rutherford, the All-Big 12 second tier from last year, was draped over him, but an amazing ball thrown there by Button. He put it right on the button.
Button is a very accurate passer, and Zweers has no doubt been the MVP for Morris in this first half. He's doing it all.
Button will hand off to Ashton Yard, who had a big hole for a second before it closed up. Down inside the 30. Twan Smith looked like he was in there on that tackle for Peoria High, bringing up a 2nd and 3. Lots of aptly named players on this Morris team. I've got Ashton Yard, the running back, and Carter Button, who just, like I said, put it right on the button. Some fun names on this Morris team, as looks like that it was Yard picking up the first down. So he's been busy here on this drive again. Morris, 5 players have carried the ball, but Yard's gotten the Lions' share of the work.
Zweers, though, has been the biggest weapon. He's here on the near side. Let's see if they go maybe back to him in motion. They've passed to him. He's just doing it all.
He's matched up with Kenny Rutherford. Interesting matchup because, Gavin, I thought coming into this game that Zweers would match up with Eli McFadden, who covers the other team's #1 wide receiver every week. And a big tackle there as Swartz, but that will be flagged. That was number 14, Caleb Lawson on Peoria making the tackle. He got Swartz almost by the neck.
Yeah, that's a tough play. And again, I don't think it's intentional. Looks like the running back there for Morris kind of went low. Kind of just tried to go right into the tackle. And when he did that, grabbed the face mask inadvertently. So a couple times, I don't think there's any malicious intent there, John, but unfortunate for Peoria High, and it goes in the Redskins' favor. They march ever closer to the goal line.
Yeah, it certainly did not look intentional.
They get back to the line of scrimmage, if nothing else, but definitely escape with a small victory there. Maybe a moral victory, if you call it that. Not turning the ball over. See if they can respond.
9 men in the box for Peoria High. 2 wide receivers for Morris. And it looks like the Redskins will call their second timeout here of the first half. And with that, we will You have a big shout out to our great sponsors on this afternoon. Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For auto, home, or life, give Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. It's Jake from State Farm. And not just Jake from State Farm, but also Jody and Zach from State Farm as well. Jody Brown in Peoria at jodybrownagency.com. Zach Butler in Pekin, you can visit him at sfbutler.com. Morris will have a 2nd and 13 from the Peoria High 15-yard line with 5:54 to go. Again, due to some space limitations here in our booth, we have no scoreboard cam, unfortunately, but we'll try and relay that over to you as much as possible. But it's been an entertaining first half, Gavin, and both teams have been able to respond. Morris, you feel like they almost need a touchdown here because Peoria High has scored almost every drive.
Yeah, Tim Thornton said he expected this game to be both teams just kind of slapping each other in the mouth, going right back and forth. That's exactly what we've seen. Morris with another chance to respond.
Button rolls out to the far side, looks for his guy. Looked like that was Zweers, his favorite target near the sideline, but he was draped like a blanket by Gary Rutherford, it looks like. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 13. So this may be one of the bigger plays of the first half so far for the visitors, Gavin. You get so far down here, and again, you don't want to kick a field goal. I mean, you certainly could, but you got to beat Peoria High with touchdowns.
You do have to beat Peoria High with touchdowns now. On maybe a favorable day, you could say, okay, let's try to take the field goal if you can't make something happen here. But wind's in your face. It's a cold day. And again, semifinal football, you don't want to leave anything to chance, leave it all out on the field. But it starts with a big 3rd down right here for Morris.
2 men in the backfield. Yard and Swartz for Button. He goes to Yard, and he is wrapped up right away. The tackle made back at the 20. It looked like that was Isaiah Walker again. And there's a flag on the near side of the field at about the 15-yard line. We'll see what this could be, Gavin. And this will be a false start on Morris. It looks like Peoria High will probably decline this if they can.
I'm not sure a false start you can decline, unfortunately,
true.
because it was an excellent defensive play. Oh, it is declined.
It is declined. They got the play off. So that should bring up a 4th and 18 from the 20-yard line. And how about Isaiah Walker for Peoria High making some big plays on defense. Tackle of about 5. A loss of about 5, I should say, there.
You can hear the crowd below. Maybe our viewers can't, but I certainly can. Even enclosed in the press box, the crowd chants defense, defense. Big contingent for Peoria High, cheering their guys on right now to a lead.
And the Lions will take a timeout. Looks like Tim Thornton was talking with one of his assistants there. They weren't on the same page. And the Lions will burn. Looks like that is their 2nd timeout. So both teams with one remaining here. The biggest play coming up for Morris, Gavin. If you're head coach Alan Thorson, what are you thinking of doing here in the huddle?
This is a really tough call because, again, you're really not in a space to punt. You really aren't going to try to kick a field goal, so I think that you might as well just go for it. You see if you can make something happen. If nothing else, even if you are short of the sticks, you put Peoria High much more towards the goal line. And even if it does get stuffed towards the line of scrimmage, you still leave Peoria High with a decently long field. So I think either way, you got to go for it here. There's more reward than the risk by going forward on the 4th and.
They do it in the biggest play of the game so far. Button being chased. He's looking for his guy, Will Knapp, and it falls far beyond his hands. Incomplete. Peoria High, a 4th down stop.
Lions sideline is fired up. The crowd loves it. It's a tough throw there from Button. Again, into the wind, on the run. That would have been a nearly impossible throw. Patrick Mahomes-esque if he would have made it. But Will Knapp couldn't quite bring it in. Getting close. No dice. Peoria High gets it. 5:31 left to go in the second quarter.
This is where Peoria High could potentially run off a good amount of clock with 80 yards in front of them, 5.5 minutes to go before the half. And they do receive the second half kick as Malachi Washington just picks up about a yard or two on first down.
For a second, it crossed my mind, could Peoria High maybe try to just chew some clock off here to end the second quarter? That's not how they roll, though. They're going to try to get a big play right here, see if they can come with something big.
And Washington gets the give, and he gets hit by A.J. Zweers. We've called his name so many times today, Gavin. That'll bring up about a third and manageable. But Zweers plays in the secondary. And last week he had a fumble recovery and an interception. He was an honorable mention All-State pick, along with Peoria High's Landon Newby Wholesome as well.
A lot of All-Staters as the sun comes out. Definitely bring a little warmth.
Enough to Malachi Washington and Morris. So hard for them to defend when Peoria High is just ratcheting up the pace of play so much. It's a very good defensive team, Gavin, but they probably haven't seen many teams like Peoria High this year.
They have not, because they just play so up-tempo, so unorthodox, a different animal.
10 from the 45. And Washington is pushed back after about a gain of 9 as we reach under 4 minutes here in quarter number 2. Peoria Stadium looking beautiful. And the sun coming out from behind the clouds. Still pretty cold out there, though.
Still pretty cold, but much nicer in the glow of the sun.
2nd and 1. Sean Franklin, the wide receiver in motion. 3 men in the backfield, and Washington has some open space. He's got a man to beat. What a block from TQ Webb. Washington cuts inside, and he is free. Malachi Washington tackled into the end zone for 6. What a highlight reel run. What a human highlight reel Malachi Washington is, and Peoria High leads 30-14.
Human joystick, perhaps. I mean, that looked like some video game stuff right there, John Michael. He was going all over the place, breaking tackles, making cutbacks. What an effort there from the Lions. Give them 6 more. And a 16-point lead with a chance to add a 2-point conversion.
Lions are starting to
earlier, John. They want it, and they want it bad. They want to find themselves playing in a Memorial Stadium next Saturday. What a big turn of events that would be for the Lions. Band plays. The fans are loving it. The sideline loving it. Home team in full control. But if I can tell you one thing we've seen, John, on Clutch Sports Media.
Certainly, Gavin. And, we've seen it a lot with, the Pekin games that we've broadcasted. They had to come back against Normal Community and stunned the Ironmen 32-31 back in the second round, and they almost got an improbable comeback last week against Lake Zurich in what was one of the most instant classic games in Clutch Sports Media history. You make the case for both that game and Normal Community, so we've been blessed with 2 straight weeks of very good football. And like you said, Morris still not out of it yet, as they recover the little chip shot kick, and will take over with 3:27 to go on their own 30-yard line. Gavin, going back to that run by Malachi Washington, again, I wanted to mention real quick on the broadcast and give a shout-out to some players on that run from Washington. I saw some great blocking from their wide receivers. Sean Franklin, who was motioned into the backfield, had a good block, as well as TQ Webb. 2 players that got the job done. Everybody blocks from Malachi Washington. Give from Carter Button goes to Yard, and he is going nowhere. Ron Tavis, Lee, and Gary Rutherford were there to make the stop and put up a brick wall. 2nd and 11 now from the 29.
On a cold day like today, John, you got to bring the heat. Got to create a little energy on your sideline, and that's exactly what Peoria High is doing. It's not that they're just playing well. They're just playing with energy and momentum. That's something that is huge, really, in any sporting event, but especially playoff football action. Momentum is key.
Big Mo, as we call it all year long, Gavin. Button looking for his guys. Weird, the slammer is picked off. Gary Rutherford will take this house call. Peoria High now leads by at least 3 scores. He picked that one off and went like a laser and took it straight to the house for 6.
This is just unbelievable, John. Peoria High, every facet of the game, firing on all cylinders. How about the Rutherfords today? Both of them, Kenny, Gary, making plays, and a pick 6 to add to the name. What a turn of events.
Gary and Kenny Rutherford are both cousins. Early in the year, we thought they were brothers, but they are cousins. That family is making an impact in this one. Pick 6, and Big Mo goes in favor of Peoria High as the whistles blow this 2-point conversion dead. We'll see what the holdup is. 38-14, Gavin.
And we know Peoria High puts up big numbers, but this is almost shockingly huge in the first half. Especially in a playoff game, you wouldn't expect them to put up these kind of points, especially, just scoring 48 in the entire game against Kankakee last time they were here. Put on a big performance for the home crowd.
A 2-point conversion going, looks like, to Ricky Hearn is good. Peoria High puts up 40 in the first half, and they're not done. They're dancing on the sideline. Eli McFadden getting into it. The coaches are getting into it. And Peoria High feels just that much closer to their first state title berth since 2016. A playoff run in which they beat Morris on their way to that state title.
I asked Tim Thornton about it. I said, what's your favorite memory? What makes this team stand out? Maybe what are some similarities from that 2016 group? His answer, all teams are different. This is completely different than 2016, but he said the closest similarity he can say is a tight-knit group. He said he's had groups with plenty of talent, plenty of really good players, but they weren't very tight-knit. They didn't have that great bond. One thing that this team has, the 2016 team has, is they're very close. They trust each other, and I think that goes a long way to creating an excellent football team. Again, Tim Thornton and his staff just creating an absolute monster in the River City. Peoria High could be on their way to the state finals.
Again, lots of football left to be played, but everything going Peoria High's way here in the second quarter, where they've done so much damage this year, and Morris can't fall in the football. Eventually they do. That would have been even more disastrous if they would not have been able to fall on it. That was Will Knapp, the senior, on the recovery for Morris. So, Gavin, right before that pick 6 from Rutherford, I said that that's a huge drive for Morris going into halftime, especially with the Lions taking the second half. They will receive to start the second half, but now you feel like you almost need to score. And that may be their only lifeline.
Yeah, score here is definitely something that they need in a big way, and I'd expect them to get aggressive. Of course, they keep a lot in the backfield, but I'd still look for them to go to the air.
Handoff from Button goes to Jacob Swartz, and nothing is doing for the Morris ground game last couple go-arounds. Stood up by the defensive line that includes Lucas Armstrong, Landon Newby-Holsome, and Patrick Jordan.
Here comes Frank Odom back onto the field, and we're going to be talking about him later when we recap this game. Win or lose for Peoria High, Frank Odom has been a spark plug. Aside just from your usual suspects, Malachi Washington and company, Frank Odom has been electric.
The Lions have 7 on the line, and one of them gets right to Ashton Yard, wrapping up with just his arm. It looked like that may have been, that was Isaiah Walker again. He's had at least 3 big tackles today. Yeah, he's another guy just like Odom, who is not one of the first guys that, you really mention a lot. He haven't called his name, at least personally, at least I haven't, much of the season. But he's making a huge impact today. 3rd and 10 for Morris. They need to go deep. He's looking for Zweers. Will there be a flag? There will. Pass interference call will be called on Kenny Rutherford.
I'm not so sure, though, John. It looks like Zweers pulled down Rutherford by the face mask or the horse collar. This could be offensive pass interference.
You said it, Gavin. That could go both ways, honestly, because Rutherford looked like he was down, a little shaken up after that play. Maybe got his helmet yanked. I'll admit I was watching the ball, and this pass interference will be OPI. And yet another thing goes in favor of Peoria High. That'll bring up a 3rd and very long for the Redskins.
Yeah, I watched that one all the way, and it really looked like that Zweers pulled him down. I think maybe had he not done that, it may have been defensive pass interference because they were right on top of each other, but mental miscue by A.J. Zweers pushes him back, and I feel like you almost have to punt.
Looks like they're going to decline that call, Gavin. 4th and 10 rather than 3rd and 20. And let's see, 3 men in the backfield. Zweers, the Wildcat quarterback here. We've seen this a couple times today. 3 wide receivers, and it looks like Zweers will back up, and they will punt this one deep. And it goes over his head. He won't get it away. The ball is loose. Peoria has it. It'll be a touchdown. That's Caleb Lawson. One of the biggest momentum shifts that we have seen all season on Clutch Sports Media. Another touchdown for Peoria High as Morris can handle the kick, and Caleb Lawson not only picks it up, but runs it in for a touchdown. 2 defensive scores for Peoria in the last few minutes.
This is one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen from any team at any point in time. This has been nothing short of amazing, and Peoria High, there's not a lot they're doing wrong. I'm sure Tim Thornton could probably pick something out. But, man, they're doing so much right. This is fun football.
2-point conversion would make it a 34-point ball game. Who would have thought that? Gets a beautiful ball to the outside. Is broken up. Nice job by the Morris defender there. That was number 18, Matt Stark, on the deflection. So that's a small victory there for Morris, preventing the Lions from scoring 2, but 1:07 left to go in quarter number 2, and Peoria High has outscored them 30-6 in this quarter. Take a quick break for our sponsors and come back with more live coverage here on Clutch Sports IL. Don't go anywhere, folks.
The Fox has become known for some of the best British and American pub fare around. And for you craft beer lovers, we have 25 ever-changing draft handles. Whether it's lagers, IPAs, stouts, or ciders, the Fox has something for everyone. Join us at the Fox Pub in North Peoria.
Okay, yes, it is cool having friends that you can count on when you need a ride. But you know what's better is not being that guy who always, needs the ride, right? Getting my car loan from SEFQ was definitely better. Applying was easy. I did it all right here from my couch. I got approved in minutes, and I got a great rate. Now I'm the guy who can give rides. That's way better.
Hey, what's up, man?
SEFQ, not a bank, better.
The Fox has become known for some of the best British and American pub fare around. And for you craft beer lovers, we have 25 ever-changing draft handles. Whether it's lagers, IPAs, stouts, or ciders, the Fox has something for everyone. Join us at the Fox Pub in North Peoria.
Welcome back to Peoria Stadium. While you were gone, the Lions kicked off, and the Redskins returned it out to the 35-yard line. Will take over 1st and 10? here with 1:02 to go in the second quarter. A dominant frame from the Lions, and Ashton Yard is wrapped up after a gain of about 4 by Frank Odom and Gary Rutherford, who had the pick 6 just a few minutes ago. 47 seconds left to go. Time ticking. Morris has just 1 timeout left. Clock now at 40. They're still waiting for the play call from the sideline. Gotta figure that they need a big play, but they're gonna go with a full house backfield and might just be content to run this one into the locker room. Button, the pitch to Sam Redinger, and one of the biggest players on this Morris team has not made as much of an impact as he would have liked, as the clock now down to 10 seconds and ticking. And again, there's a graphic on the scoreboard. Don't know exactly how much time is left. And that will be the horn. And that is the first half. The Peoria High Lions are serenaded by applause. Tim Thornton giving a huge hug to his guy Caleb Lawson. He scored the most recent touchdown for Peoria High on a muffed punt, and everything has been going right for the Lions as they look to get back to the state title game for the first time in 6 years against Morris. Gavin, your first half thoughts?
Just an incredible effort, and I never seen a team just come out so dominant in a big game like this, and don't even really know that it's Morris so much playing bad. They've, of course, had a few miscues that Peoria High has been able to capitalize on, but overall, I mean, it's just been electric. There's been the whole bag of tricks coming out for the Lions. Frank Odom, the Rutherfords, Malachi Washington, Ricky Hearn, Tino Gist. The list goes on and on and on. Been a dominant performance from the Lions, and Morris has no answer.
Again, a 30-6 advantage from the Lions in quarter number 2. Perhaps one of the best quarters by any team that we've seen all season, Gavin. They hold a big lead, and Morris has their work cut out for them in the second half. We'll take a quick break and thank our sponsors for this game that make this broadcast possible. Jake Weston, State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, give your guy Jake from State Farm a call at 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. And also for the rest of our great State Farm agents as well. Jody Brown in Peoria, Zach Butler in Pekin, and Jake Weston, again, in Washington. You can give them a call at the phone numbers on your screen or give them a visit on their website. Yeah, I want to thank our great neighbors from State Farm. We'll take a quick break from our sponsors and come back with some halftime analysis. Look at what other scores are being posted from around the state as well. Don't go anywhere, but Peoria High leads 46-14 at the half at Peoria Stadium.
There's a lot of talk about big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way.
I call David Hunt when I need help for a case I don't even consider anyone else. He has never made me feel like we were beating someone. It was always what's fair. What's fair? This is what's fair. This is what's right. This is what's for you. This is what you deserve. I like dealing with people like that. I'm not out to cheat anybody, and he's not either. Just what's fair.
Welcome back to Peoria Stadium. We see a little halftime performance from the Peoria High cheerleaders to the song Win by J-Rock. And the Lions are halfway on their way to that same outcome as they lead Morris 46-14 here at the half. Again, I'm Jonathan Michael, alongside me, Gavin Russell. And thank you for tuning in to this IHSA Class 5A semifinal matchup. And Peoria High with a huge lead. Gavin, it's safe to say that we knew that Peoria was good, we knew that Morris was good, but I don't think a lot of people expected this.
No, I don't think anybody did, just because of how good both these teams have been, and a lot of people picking Morris as the best team in 5A, or at least one of the best. Of course, they're here in the Final Four in the semifinal. That's a given, but certainly I think a lot of people may have picked the Redskins coming into this matchup. Been all Lions, though, and I think definitely got to look at the home turf. You got to look at the conditions of this game. There's a lot of factors that maybe on a different day things go quite differently. But at the end of the day, Peoria High with a big lead, and that's something that they're going to be very proud of, something they don't want to let slip away in the second half, especially even if they can hold on to win to this game. They don't want to play bad second half football. You want to take all that momentum you can, keep expounding on this lead, not for bad sportsmanship's sake, but just to keep that momentum going. You need that momentum, you need that drive as they look to head into the state championship.
And that's a tremendous point, Gavin. This Peoria team has really been coming in with the right mentality since their Week 8 loss against Normal West. That's what head coach Tim Thornton told us, was that, we didn't have the right mentality going in that game. They wanted an improved one after that loss, and they've been doing so here. Another quick note, Gavin, as you mentioned about the conditions. Morris plays on a turf field, which, again, they play a couple games on grass, obviously, against their, regular season foes, but definitely more used to the turf. And that's something that I've seen that they've, just kind of struggled to get going on offense. Peoria High looks like the quicker team, even though Morris does have a lot of speed as well.
We didn't quite get into the keys of the game, John, but that was going to be one of my top keys. It was going to be find your footing. Morris hasn't done that yet. We'll see if they can do that in the second half.
Thanks for the insight, Gavin. We'll take another quick break, come back with more scores from around the area, including an update on the other semifinal happening in Class 5A, along with some other scores that we have from around the state. Don't go anywhere, folks. Stay tuned.
Start your day with a delicious handcrafted breakfast at Excellent Cafe. From appetizing avocado toast to a perfect pancake, Bloody Marys, and mimosas, our staff is here every morning to send you to work with a smile.
Happy holidays from Mackinac Valley Vineyard.
Start your day with a delicious handcrafted breakfast at Excellent Cafe. From appetizing avocado toast to a perfect pancake, Bloody Marys, and mimosas, our staff is here every morning to send you to work with a smile.
Welcome back to Peoria Stadium, where Peoria High leading Morris 46-14 here in the Class 5A semifinal. Just one game away from state are both the Lions and the Redskins. Although, Gavin, you have an update on the other Class 5A semifinal matchup between Sycamore and Nazareth Academy.
Yeah, that's a big matchup, and Sycamore 12-0 coming into the game. They actually beat Morris 28-0, largely one of the best teams in the state, one of the best in 5A. At halftime, the Sycamore Spartans leading Nazareth 7-3. Barn burner there in Sycamore. At halftime, Nazareth only a field goal to show for, so a defensive battle. We've got an offensive battle here. One of those teams will be playing either Peoria High or Morris in the state finals in Champaign. Regardless, it'll be a good matchup.
And Gavin, both Morris and Sycamore both play in the same conference. You mentioned that they played early in the season. Morris suffered their second loss of the season to Sycamore 28-0 to close out the regular season. So if they're able to mount a huge comeback and Sycamore is able to win, that would be some big storylines in the title game. But Peoria High looking dominant, and Nazareth Academy has a much smaller lead over Sycamore. So if you like offense, stick with us here at ClutchSportsIL.com. We'll keep you updated on the other score between Sycamore and Nazareth. We'll take another quick break, come back with more halftime coverage here on ClutchSportsIL.com.
You know, prepping my meals for the whole week saves me a lot of time. And it helps me keep an eye on my spending, and that's even better, right? SafeQ does that too. Anytime, anywhere. And I can talk to a real person when I need to. My account has no monthly fee, so I can use my SafeQ debit card everywhere. At the grocery store, ATMs, and, well, here. So I don't have to eat my own cooking every day. Bye, everybody!
SafeQ, not a bank, better.
Passionate. Focused. Strong. Qualities that you look for in a great athlete. And also a great lawyer. At Strong Law Offices, injury law is at the heart of what we do. Our team is on your side. When the game is on the line, let us tackle your claim.
Welcome back to Peoria Stadium. About 5 minutes left or so to go here in halftime. I'm Jonathan Michael. Alongside me is Gavin Russell. And Gavin, we just talked about the other playoff game in 5A going on right now. We'll try and look at some other scores from around. The only other Peoria area team, it would be a stretch to call them a Peoria area team that's playing in the semifinals today, is Tri-Valley. They're in the 2A semifinals against Maroa Forsyth. Let's see if we can get a score update from there. Tri-Valley is going to the 2A state championship. They defeat Maroa Forsyth, their only defeat of the season, in resounding fashion, 36-6. So congratulations to Tri-Valley, Gavin. We saw them back in week 2 at DMAC. They'll be playing for a 2A state title. Try and get some other scores from around the area pulled up as well, but the score here, Peoria 46, Morris 14. Gavin, I know it'd be kind of hard to pick, but, you know, maybe who's a player of the game, maybe an unsung player of the game for Peoria. Obviously, we know that Malachi Washington and Ricky Hearn, Tino Gist, the Rutherfords, they all get a lot of love, but we've seen a lot of other role players step up as well. Who have you really liked?
I think it's easy to pick Frank Odom. I think that's certainly been the player of the game, and I don't even say unsung in this game because Frank Odom has a touchdown. He's had multiple big runs. I think that's a guy you're going to take his name away from this game and say he did a lot for the Lions. Frank Odom is really, again, not a guy you're going to see a lot. We didn't see a whole lot throughout the regular season, but just kind of has that mentality. Come in, you don't have to be the starter to make big plays. He is embracing his role and doing a lot of really good things for Peoria High. Again, offensively and defensively, playing both ways, doing a fantastic job.
Peoria High, a big lead over Morris, and they just kind of ran past them, playing at breakneck speed. As soon as one play is over, it seems like they're already at the line and ready to go for another play. And Gavin, what's crazy about that is Peoria High has said that, you know, a couple of players have said that it feels like we never play in a game because after we get done in a game, it never feels like we play in a game because we play so much faster in practice. So if they play this fast in a game, I can't imagine how fast they play in practice. Maybe they are playing at typical practice speed here today, but it seems like they're just running past Morris, and the visitors will need a huge comeback here in half number 2 as the Lions take the field and start to get warmed up. The band is playing. Spirits are high at Peoria Stadium.
Spirits are high indeed, and again on a chilly day, didn't necessarily expect the biggest crowd of the year, but the stands below us are pretty full. Morris traveled well. Also, again, when you have big stakes, big game on the line, everybody's got to come out for it. If you didn't get a chance to come out, thanks for joining us. ClutchSportsIL.com.
Want to give a big thanks to all of our viewers watching, as well as our crew, our producer, Teddy Ball, and our camera operator, Charlie Schermerhorn. Slimmed down crew for us today, but still glad to be bringing you this semifinal coverage from Peoria Stadium. We'll take another quick break here from halftime. Not much longer before the second half gets ready to kick off. We'll be right back after this.
The Other Dog is not just any dog. We're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with many delicious dogs to enjoy. A family-owned business serving Central Illinois for over 11 years. Stop by today.
We know there's only one thing you want to save on this November.
And we got them. Tons of Jeeps in stock. We got Grand Cherokees, Gladiators.
What? No, we're over here talking about the best deals on Ram with 0% financing and savings we haven't seen in years.
Whatever. How about Adventure with 5,000 off brand new Jeeps? And best part is, no payments for 90 days.
Shop our Black Friday sales event now through November 30th.
Only here at Sam Lehman of Peoria.
The Other Dog is not just any dog. We're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with many delicious dogs to enjoy. A family-owned business serving Central Illinois for over 11 years. Stop by today.
Welcome back to Peoria Stadium. Just a couple more seconds left here on the clock. Both teams still warming up. Getting loose. Very, very cold weather here at Peoria Stadium, where the Lions lead 46-14. It's what is easily, I should say, the coldest game of the year, Gavin. Go to my weather app right now. This is straight from the Weather Channel, by the way. The kickoff temperature, according to our graphics, said 30. It's now dipped to 27. It feels like 12 degrees.
Boy, 12, that sounds generous. I would venture to say we're in single-digit feel-like territory, but although we're in the booth and they're embracing the elements out there, I asked Tim Thornton, I said, what does the cold have to do with that? Because it's a different animal than rain or snow or any sort of elements like that. Just the sheer coldness and the brutal wind out there. Just acknowledge both teams are playing in the same game. You know, you're not playing in two different climates. Both teams out there on the field experiencing the same elements. So just kind of embracing it, trying to be better than your opponent. And so far, Peoria High has taken that to heart.
Gavin, I know we kind of have a little bit of inside joke in Clutch Sports Media about how you love to wear shorts. If you don't know Gavin, Gavin's the type of guy that likes to wear shorts even when it's, 30, 40 degrees out. He's the guy that's just, you see him and you're like, why are you in shorts, man? I want to ask you, Gavin, did the thought of wearing shorts today ever cross your mind at all, even just for a joke?
Yeah, it did cross my mind, but it would be to put under my pants for additional layers. No, it certainly did not cross my mind legitimately today. It is way too cold for that. Although I do know some family that may have traveled down to Florida tuning in right now that's enjoying the warmth watching this game while wearing shorts. So I'm definitely a little bitter at them, but it is bitterly cold. It's been exciting football, but again, the elements not doing too much to our favor. But hey, that's what makes it playoff football. That's what makes it November. Just all part of the ambiance of the whole game.
Certainly, and Gavin, just from first glance, I'm looking over at you here in the booth. It looks like you got me beat in terms of layers. At least you have beat, meaning using golf rules. You have 2 layers on. I have 4, both on top and bottom. So I'm still cold. Can barely feel my feet. But, boy, has this been a great football game. It's been all worth it. Thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. It's under a minute to go here before we get the third quarter underway. I'll take a quick shout-out for our sponsors that make this broadcast and all of our other broadcasts possible, starting with Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, give Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. And for our other great sponsors as well, Jody Brown in Peoria, Zach Butler in Pekin. Call Jody, call it 309-693-1103, or Zach Butler at 309-347-3115, and their websites are there on your screen as well. Ball is on the tee, and we are ready for half number 2. here at the historic Peoria Stadium. Kick from Morris is away. It's an onside-er, and there's a chance that Morris may have this, and it looks like they do. That ball looks like it may have been recovered by Dimitri Lindemuth from Morris. Caught Peoria High off guard, and you can't start the second half any better than that, Gavin. The Redskins have possession near midfield, and they get a chance to get the ball right back.
Tim Thornton was asking the official same thing I was wondering. Was that touched before it reached the 50-yard line?
That is Knapp, Zwiers, and looks like Gage Phillips out there. It trips to the right. Button looking to pass. He's going down the far side. He's got his guy down near the goal line. That was Matt Stark, who's made a couple big plays today. And two massive plays for Morris. And they have a pulse, Gavin. Down to about the 1 yard line. He was inches away on the first play of the second half.
Morris coming out and doing everything right, and I said this game is not over. High stakes like this, never leave the chance.
Full house backfield for Morris. Ashton Yard gets the carry, and he is in. Yard gets the 1 yard he needs, and Morris has reached 20. All comebacks got to start somewhere, Gavin, and going 50 yards in the span of 32 seconds is a phenomenal way to do that.
Well, that's just about as good as scoring at the end of the first half, because you're 30 seconds in and you have already scored.
2-point conversion for Morris. Again, full house backfield. Handoff goes to Yard again. He runs right into the pile. And unfortunately for the visitors, not into the end zone. So it will be just 6 for Morris, but still, quick points are the Redskins' friend. And they have cut the deficit to 46-20. That makes things a little bit more interesting, Gavin. If they were able to come back, that would be one of the best comebacks I have ever seen. And it's a team that's certainly capable of doing so. This is a team that was ranked number 1 in Class 5A for much of the season.
Yeah, this is definitely not over. I think that despite the score and despite coming into the second half, may have expected Peoria High to just kind of cruise to a victory. No cruise control. Tim Thornton's going to try to get his guys kind of refocused here. Maybe a little bit kind of just taking it easy to start the second half out. But that's not what they want to do. They got to be expecting everything. Morris is going to try to throw the kitchen sink at them. Anything they can, go deep into the playbook because it is do or die time.
Can't trip up in the playoffs, otherwise your season, and for some instances, your career is over. Morris doesn't want that to happen. What a great run of success that they have had the last couple of years. They lost in the second round last year to the Morton Potters. And another onside kick here, and Morris may have it. That was being fought for, and they're celebrating like they do. Is that 2 in a row? Still awaiting the call. Looked like it was a 50-50 ball. Waiting for them to peel the players off, and the Redskins have it. Oh, baby. Strap in. Morris is back in business. Wow. 2 onside kick recoveries to start the second half.
I expected it to come. I'm not sure Peoria High did again. I don't know what they're thinking. Because at this point in the game, you got to do whatever, and it worked the first time, so maybe a bit of a lapse in judgment there. Now the Redskins get it back past midfield. A lot of momentum shifting towards Morris.
11:24 on the clock here in quarter 3. Morris already scored on a run from Ashton Yard. Going deep was Button. He's looking for Zwiers. Physical play there on the football, and that was Kenny Rutherford. A great job there. That ball was sailing close out of bounds. He wasn't able to grab it. Nice job by Button, putting it in a place where it would have been very hard for Rutherford to come down with the interception. That pass falls incomplete, and it'll be 2nd and 10, but can't fault Morris there for going on another big shot.
No, absolutely not. Kenny Rutherford did a really nice job on the coverage, and Morris maybe looking for DPI there. Not at all. Zwiers was already pulling on Rutherford. Just excellent coverage. Well-placed ball, but nothing you can do, and Kenny Rutherford knocks it away.
It's cold enough that you could see the breath of Carter Button all the way from up here in the press box. But his Morris team is heating up. So they take 2nd and 10 from the 49. 7 guys in the box, on the line rather, for Peoria High. This handoff goes to Yarden. He is strung out on the outside. And the Peoria crowd erupts on a big tackle from Gary Rutherford. And Rontavis Lee was in there as well.
It looked like he had his hand on the horse collar for a brief moment. Kind of saw flashes of, oh boy, might be another flag coming here, but didn't bring him down by that. Had a little time to readjust and still brings him down for the loss. That might be what Peoria High needed to kickstart things here in the second half after it's been all Morris over the course of the first minute. 10:40 left to go.
That's something that Peoria High does so well with their linebackers. String the ball carriers out to the outside and bring them down for a loss. 4 wide receivers, 2 on each side for Button and the Redskins. Drops back, being pressured by Lawson, rolls out, and he'll keep it. He's being wrapped up by Landon Newby Wholesome. The Bone Cruncher takes down Button for may have got back to the line of scrimmage, but it looked like it may be a loss of 1.
Landon Newby Wholesome eating there on the defense, and what a big response from Peoria High. Had to get their legs warmed up after sitting in the halftime locker room, but do a really good job to respond right there. Again, Tim Thornton said it best, mentioned earlier in the game, both teams are going to be slapping each other in the mouth. Morris comes up, slaps in a big way, but Peoria High responds.
Zwiers away with the punt. The up man, Kenny Rutherford, ran up. He was set to return the kick, but decided to run up in case of a fake. But this ball is rolling down inside the 6. So a terrific punt from A.J. Zwiers, the wide receiver, running back, and punter for Morris. And that will pin Peoria High deep in their own territory with 9:32 to go here in the third quarter.
But this may be a good opportunity for Peoria High. Again, maybe a smart choice to try to stifle the fake attempt, and now a chance if you can have a slower drive, chew off a little bit of the clock. Still set up here 1st and 10.
Washington in the backfield, stands in the end zone for a guest. Washington across the 6, across the 10, and is brought down by Zwiers after a gain of 11. Call him Mr. First Down, Malachi Washington. And he keeps those chain workers busy, picking up the first down.
Just a couple minutes into third quarter, 9:19 left to go. Clock stops momentarily after the first down. Now we're rolling. Nice job from Washington.
Washington goes right up the gut again. Another great hole opened up by this Peoria offensive line, Gavin, that one of their linemen, Dominic Batista, said in an interview. I was watching it with his interview he had with Jim Matson on WEEK. And he said that they call their offensive line the meat wall. And you look at the size of these guys, and you'll see why. As Washington gets to give for short yardage, may have picked up the first down. But look at their offensive line. Going from the left, you have Dominic Batista, left tackle at 6'5", 302. At left guard, you have Jaquarius Green, a mountain of a man at 6'3" and 389, a freshman. And at center, Trevante Brown, 5'11", 249. Mathino Fuller is the right guard at 6'4", 318. A.J. Roscoe, 6'3", and 301. That is the size of a college offensive line, Gavin. I would guess that it would rival the size of any Power 5's front 5.
It's a huge offensive line. I saw on Twitter yesterday a picture, end of the year potluck it looked like the offensive line group had. So those big dogs can eat.
Those big dogs are barking down the field. First down for Peoria High. Frank Odom will get the carry, and he is free down the sideline. Can he get a block? He pushes Newbie Holston, says, here, block for me. He does. Odom, touchdown, Peoria. Frank Odom goes 67 yards, and the Peoria High rushing attack runs deep. And you saw why right there. Frank Odom with his second score of the game. 52-20. The Lions get right back ahead by 30 plus.
Frank Odom, not so unsung anymore. How about that, John? He is second touchdown of the day. Big play after big play. Peoria High, just like that, regains their big lead.
Washington shakes a tackle from Hemmersbach on Morris and picks up the 2-point conversion. As an all-state player there in Hemmersbach, it still couldn't bring down Malachi Washington, and Peoria High leads 54-20. Gavin, this Lions team has scored 60 or more on 4 occasions this year. I will say myself, I'll admit, I wasn't expecting them to put up close to that amount today. I thought it would be more of a defensive battle, and they're making me look bad.
Yeah, I believe you said an over-under at around 60 or so.
Well, I know. I didn't put a specific number on it or whatever.
What you did say is
I did say it would be a more defensive game. Correct.
Would say it would be a defensive game, and I went the other direction. I figured we'd see a lot of scoring from both sides today, and certainly Morris has put up some points here, not quite as many as Peoria High, but lots and abundance of scoring.
Morris needed their defense to come through. They still have a couple chances to hold Peoria High, but that is a very tough task. Trickery on the onside kick here. That ball is bouncing, and it is brought in by number 10 from Morris. That is Sam Mateski. And there is a flag down. We will investigate to see what this is. It looks like it is on Peoria High, so possibly another false start, Gavin. That'll move the kick back to the 35.
Getting a little eager, jumping across the line. Peoria High plays one speed, all gas, no brakes, John. That's the definition of this Lions team.
And to me, Gavin, what's more impressive is you might think that, oh, do these guys get tired? Do they have enough gas in their tank? Deep in the 5A state semifinal game, mid-November, it starts to get cold. You've been practicing and playing football for a couple months. No, the Peoria High Lions have played fast from week 1, and they are still doing so. And that was the Morris returner Stark getting lit up at the 35-yard line. That's where Morris will take over. Looking to get back in the end zone just like they did with Ashton Yard to start the third quarter if you're just tuning in. Morris kicked the ball off to start the second half, recovered the onside kick, and after a big pass to A.J. Zweers, Yard punched it in from 1 yard out for Morris's third score of the game.
Peoria High, though, defensively, if you've kind of tuned in late, they've had 2 defensive scores, a pick 6, a muffed punch attempt was recovered and returned for a touchdown. Great defense from Peoria High.
Pitch and catch from Button, slings it out to Yard, who runs across the 40-yard line, and the flat route, pick up the first down, it looks like, so Morris moving in the right direction. They scored the first touchdown of this game with A.J. Zweers. That's the last lead they had was 8-0 in the first quarter. Button drops back, being pressured by both sides. He's looking deep for Zweers, or rather that was Will Knapp. And he brings it in for a big catch from Morris. So the passing game for Morris starting to pick up a little bit. And that's what head coach Alan Thorson said, Gavin, is, we can be 2 different types of teams. We can be T-bone, full house backfield, run it straight at you, or we can spread it out and throw it at you as well. And the latter option is going to be what they're going to have to do in the second half to come back. So pass swing out to Phillips. Their senior receiver. He's in the red zone down to the 18. Gage Phillips. I believe that his is his first reception of the afternoon. And the Redskins continue to move in timely fashion.
7:05 left to go in the third quarter. Looked like McFadden slipped a little bit there, guarding him. Opened up some room for the catch, made the tackle, but a first down for the Redskins.
7:05 to go. Button drops back again for a pass. He's got a good route. He's got his man. Knapp brings it in. Touchdown for Morris. Beautiful ball from Carter Button to Will Knapp, the senior receiver. And Morris slaps Peoria right back. Just like you said, Gavin, it's going to be like a fight all game long. And Morris still punching back.
They're not down yet. They're on the mat, but don't count them out. They certainly have some gas left in their tank. 7 minutes even on the clock and starting to find that offense. The offense is coming alive at the right time. Peoria High's responded so far.
Split backfield. Zweer's the Wildcat. We've seen it a couple times today. He's going to be close. The referee says no, although their offensive lineman, Nick Perry, said yes. So ultimately, the man in stripes is their call that counts, and Morris fails on the 2-point conversion again, but they still get 6. They trail by 4 touchdowns and 4 extra points, although we won't be seeing any extra points today, Gavin.
No, they were initially going to attempt one on their very first touchdown. Ended up going with a 2-point attempt anyway after there was a flag. But no more kicking. Only kicking we're going to see today is done on kickoffs. Need any points you can get.
Certainly, and we'll take a quick break for our sponsors that make this broadcast possible. Want to thank Jake Weston, State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, give Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. It's Jake from State Farm. He is in Washington. However, if you're in Pekin or near that area, you got Zach Butler. And near Peoria, you got Jody Brown. Give them a call at the numbers on your screen or visit their websites. I want to thank Jody, Zach, and Jake for all their support of high school athletics all football season long. 54-26 is the lead. Lots of points being scored here as the ball falls off the tee. And Gavin, it looks like, again, we've seen 2 onside kicks from Morris in the second half, and Peoria High is still not in an onside recover formation. Will the Redskins do it again? They're 2 for 2 so far. This one more of a chip shot, more out of kick. What goes out of bounds. I'm a little bit puzzled by that, Gavin. Looks like that was his goal the whole time, was just to kick it out of bounds. So maybe he did that because he didn't want Kenny Rutherford or Ricky Hearn, Frank Odom, any of the Peoria returners to possibly burn them for a big return.
Yeah, it's possible, but the short onside kick has gone 2 for 2. So I would think that they would go for it a third time. But they kick it out of bounds. I'm not sure the idea was to kick it out of bounds, perhaps, just to boot it a little farther away. Now it gives Peoria High pretty favorable field position. Try to chew a little clock off, 7 minutes even in the third quarter, and a chance to continue to add on to their 54-point effort.
Malachi Washington, the star running back, the all-state pick for Peoria, has been running down this Morris team all afternoon long. Will he continue to do so, or will the visitors find the answer? They do so here, and Washington stood up for no gain. That's a big play by this Morris defensive line, Gavin, that very strong in their own right, but they've looked small, and Peoria High's offensive line has been imposing their will, at least in most instances so far today. Washington in the backfield again, gives him the handoff. First man to hit Washington was Sam Redinger. And he brings him down for a gain of about 4 or 5. So it'll be third and medium. Redinger, another impact player for this Morris team that we haven't mentioned a ton so far today. He's a Northern Iowa commit. Last week had 13 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. Third down and 7 from the 43. Washington looking to go to the outside. Can he find a hole? A little bit. Zweers brings him down near the sticks. It's going to be very close. And it looks like, Gavin, it is going to be a 4th and inches after the nice tackle there by Zweers and Hemmersbach.
Peoria High is going to set up fast. Of course, going forward on 4th down without question.
Newbie Wholesome, watch him, the fullback. Oh, and Ricky Hearn, that Peoria wide receiver, miscommunication there on the snap count. He already ran 3 or 4 yards down the field, and Tino Gist looked up like, where are you going? The ball's still under center. That will move Peoria High back. So it'll now be 4th and a long 5, really closer to 6. A stop here for Morris would be much needed. Almost imperative, although not quite. Newbie Wholesome, the fullback in motion, over to the right side. Gist rolls out. He's looking deep for his man, Hearn, near the 30, and is incomplete. The ball was just a bit too far to Hearn's left. He couldn't reach out and grab it, and Morris will take over on a turnover on downs.
5:10, third quarter, and Morris gets the ball back. So Peoria High can't slap it back, apparently. They cannot make a response. So Morris, another good opportunity. And again, it still seems like a pretty far shot for Morris. Can they trail by quite a bit? But you get a touchdown here and a 2-point conversion, John. Maybe you start talking. Maybe you start saying, hey, Morris could actually do this thing and pull off a big comeback. But again, it's going to start each and every drive is just so crucial for the Redskins.
Well, they scored a touchdown in about 30 seconds to start the second half, so I would not count them out by any means. Button looking to throw. He's got hit by Rontavis Lee. No flag on the play, and that falls incomplete, so second down. But plenty of time left to go, Gavin. Again, apologies for no scoreboard cam like our broadcasts typically do. Had some space limitations here in the booth, so had to cut it out. But there's 5:04 left here in quarter number 3. Again, Peoria High led big at the half.
I think on that last play there from Morris, may have gotten away with a hold. Looked like Taywon Smith got a good jersey tug, but no call. Nothing happening.
2nd and 10 for Morris. 4 wide receiver set. We've seen that a bit more. Pressure coming off the edges, and he's looking for his guy, Knapp, again, and he's got a first down. Another athletic catch for Knapp, and a late hit out of bounds. No flag thrown. Oh, there is a flag thrown. Right at the very end, it looks like that will march the Redskins 15 yards closer to their end zone. That may be a personal foul call on Peoria. Don't want to speculate, but that was a late hit. They're on Knapp.
Officials will talk about it. Flag came out way late.
Very late. Surprised to see it come out after about 3 or 4 seconds of action on the sideline, and that penalty does go against Peoria High. So, again, you want to stay composed. Because plays like that really don't help you hold a big lead. That will really aid Morris as they march down now inside the 20.
Yeah, some miscues so far. Tim Thornton not exactly pleased with the call. Bit of a late hit, but a late flag. But we march on.
1st and 10 now from the 17. Button looks to pass. He has faces pressured. He goes down. It was only a matter of time before the Peoria High Lions would get their first sack. And they finally get it with Rontavis Lee bringing down Carter Button along with the help of a couple others on the edge.
That's what you call like a zero blitz right there. Coming in, no mercy. And again, all gas, no brakes. Peoria High, one speed.
Zero blitz, if you're not familiar with it, it's where all linebackers, all three of them blitz. We've seen that look a lot from the Peoria High team as Ricky Hearn now trotting off the field for Peoria High. It looks like a replacement Phil Ellis coming in, so hopefully Ricky Hearn is all right. Looks like he's getting taped up a bit by the trainer, and we'll get set for 2nd and 17 after the sack from Rontavis Lee. He has been a massive force for this Peoria High defense this year. In his senior year, Carter Button hands off to Ashton Yard for a pickup of about 7, so near the original line of scrimmage now are the Redskins, but 3rd and 10 coming up. And again, Gavin, Morris, you can't really expect them to kick a field goal, and they're going into the wind, going now north to south.
Just a touch under 4 minutes. Again, need a score on this drive for your Morris to keep some momentum shifting. They've already gotten a couple here in the quarter. Can they add another one?
Morris looking to keep the comeback going. This is the deepest they've gone in the playoffs since 2017. And Ashton Yard, this may be the deepest run he's had all game. He gets near the end zone before he's appended at the 2-yard line. But a big play there, and that's what Morris needs. Not a lot of them in the first half, but certainly they're coming much quicker fashion in the second half, as it'll be 1st and goal now from the 3.
Bringing some big bodies there for the Lions defensive line. They've only got a couple of yards to go for Morris.
As Jonah Williams, number 7, who checked in for Morris. Hands off goes to Redinger. And a big pile, not much doing though. A pickup of maybe a yard as we approach 3 minutes left to go here in quarter number 3.
One thing we've seen on some of these short goal line runs is just kind of flying to the outside, not really going between the tackles. So see if the Morris team will maybe go to the outside on a run.
Button hands off, pitches to Zweer as he's brought down for a big loss of 5. That's Lawson, and he stands over him. And he was talking trash for sure, I bet.
I think there was definitely some talking going both ways, but Zweers with a little bit of a kick over, looked like Rutherford there. Again, definitely some chippiness. Both teams with a lot of energy, but certainly a miscue right there. We'll see if maybe they offset, though.
Could be a very chippy game. Both squads want to go so badly to the state title game, and those penalties will offset. So we will replay 3rd down. But what a big play there for Walker. The linebacker, a senior, has been making some big ones today, but for Peoria High right now, Gavin, one thing, you got to keep your composure because that's how you lose momentum. And as you mentioned, they can't lose momentum if they advance. 4 wide receivers, rather, for Button. He is looking to pass to the corner of the end zone. He's got Zweers. What a catch! A.J. Zweers, another touchdown for Morris. And the comeback continues as they now trail by just 22. A beautiful ball from Carter Button to his junior wideout. That's the connection that Morris will bring back next year. They've been lethal today.
They sure have. It has been excellent. 3 touchdowns here. 2:43 left to go in the 3rd quarter. That's their 3rd touchdown in the second half, and Zweers makes a big play and big catch right there.
Full house backfield for the Redskins, and they push it in for 2. So the deficit is now 20. Morris, they've owned the 3rd quarter so far, despite a touchdown from Peoria High's Frank Odom. But all of a sudden, they're right back in this game. And you look at a 20-point deficit, and you're like, okay, well, that's still 3 scores, but this is one of the best 5A teams in the state, as is Peoria High, obviously. But if anybody can do it, it's likely Morris.
If we've seen anything, is how quick Morris can score, how fast they are able to get down, and they scored in about 32 seconds, I believe, to start the quarter. So they are capable of making something happen in a hurry. Peoria High, very much the same way, but we will see what they can do. Again, boxing match of sorts here, as Tim Thornton called it, slapping each other in the face. Morris doing a lot more right now, and they carry a lot of momentum. They get set to kick things off.
2:43 left to go here in quarter number 3. Morris now within 20. They trailed 46-18 at the half.
Wonder if they'll go to the onside kick again. I'm watching for that very closely. Peoria High moves a few more players up close.
And that onside kick will not did it travel the 10 yards? If it did, Morris has it, but it did not. Peoria High, the beneficiaries of that rule where the onside kick has to go 10 yards. And it looks like it will be Lion football, and it will.
From my perspective, it totally looked like Morris just made contact with that at about the 48.5, 49-yard line, which of course would have slowed it down, which of course would have helped them recover the ball. So that's why the rules are there for a reason. Very close. Again, a bang-bang play. It's kind of fast in the moment to really judge where that ball's at, but just can't quite come up with it. Peoria High gets fortunate. Morris, that would have been their third onside kick recovery of the game had they gotten it.
And it would have given the chance for Morris to potentially get within 2 scores going into quarter number 4, a more than manageable deficit. But Peoria High gets the ball back. And can Morris stop them? They just did on downs earlier. Tosses it out, a bubble screen to his guy. That's Ricky Hearn down the sideline. And one play later, Peoria High says, we're not going anywhere. Don't forget about our offense. We'll show you what we can do. Ricky Hearn. Long touchdown catch for the Peoria Lions, and they're right back up.
Back and forth we go. Again, Morris just got a little too far behind to really make it as interesting, but this second half has been exactly what we expected. We expected just, again, back and forth scoring, both teams making big play after big play. This is the exciting football we come to expect.
2-point conversion, Gist looking and is intercepted by Zweers. He can't return it, at least in high school. This is the NFL. They could have ran that back for 2 points themselves. But the score will remain at 60-34. And Gavin, it's almost unbelievable what Peoria's offense has been able to do against Morris. This is a team, Morris is, that only allowed just over 10 points per game in the playoffs. They allowed 17 to LaSalle Peru. They shut out Centralia 56-0. And they held Mahomet Seymour to 14. Peoria High, no dip in offensive production at all, though. 60 points here, and we're still in quarter number 3.
Well, I was just going to mention, a lot of the wins that Morris has had this year have come against playoff teams. Antioch, Caneland, Coal City, LaSalle Peru, Centralia, Mahomet Seymour, Ottawa. They lost to Richmond Burton, but they have played most of their schedule have been playoff teams, and they're winning in big fashion against a lot of them. So they've been more than battle-tested. Peoria High, again, just a different animal.
Deep kick for Peoria High. That's a rare sight. And I don't know if Morris was ready for it. A short return there from Stark. And that'll give Morris possession at just in front of the 30-yard line. Gavin, taking a quick look at Peoria High head coach Tim Thornton. and what he's been able to do in the playoffs. Again, in his 13th year, won a state title back in 2016 in Class 5A. Overall, in playoff history, Peoria High is 14-6 under Tim Thornton, and their only other state appearance was in 1988. So they've had 2 of their 3 trips to state in program history have come with Thornton at the helm.
He's done a fantastic job with this team. He's a great leader, and he's built up an empire of Peoria football. He's just done an excellent job.
Morris will take it 1st and 10 from their own 26. 2:29 to go here in quarter number 3. And Peoria High's offense so far has proved to be just too much. Carter Button throws to the outside looking for it. That was Knapp. Pass falls incomplete, 2nd and 10.
I think that at this point they are going to abandon the run for the most part, maybe once in a while, but I wouldn't expect to see too much from that full house set that we've seen so much this afternoon. I think really what we're going after is now just a pass-first game for Morris.
Still time for Morris to get a score before the end of the 3rd quarter. They've moved quickly in the 2nd half. 5 wide receivers roll out. Button has room to run. Shakes off a man. He's brought down. That was Landon Newbie Wholesome on the defensive line, sacking Carter Button. And that's the Lions' 2nd quarterback takedown of the 3rd quarter.
Landon Newbie Wholesome, he's made a couple big plays there on the QB, coming up for some stops. Again, unsung hero, but making his presence felt.
Landon Newbie Wholesome, Gavin, he's just a football player. He hits people, he plays offense, he plays defense, he blocks, he does everything.
Football guy.
Prototypical guy.
Football guy.
Handoff goes to Ashton Yard. Scurries across the 25, but not much doing on 3rd down, so that'll bring up 4th and long for Morris.
Peoria High desperately asking for a hold right there. Thought there was some big-time holding on the line, may have had a case. But again, the officials are watching it. Nothing to call. Nevertheless, Peoria High comes with another stop, and I think you got to go for it. It's 4th down, but again, do or die time. Morris has just got to keep going for it.
Got to watch for Morris right now is Zweers. He is the nearest of the 3 wide receivers at the top of your screen. But it looks his way, and that pass was low and incomplete. Peoria High takes over on downs with 53 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Button just a hair too low, and I'm sure he's going to be thinking about that one there on the sideline.
Peoria High up big, but I see Tim Thornton in the huddle, still giving his guys the business, keeping them fired up. Always a chance to be coaching. And again, Peoria High needs to keep their foot on the gas pedal. Morris has made a push here in the 2nd half for sure. Got to keep going, leave nothing to chance.
One thing about this Peoria team, Gavin, is if you've ever gone to a Peoria game this year, you can see a big tent with a massive TV under it. And it has it's almost like a little film room that they have there on the field. The TV was given to them by a former coach who was moving away from the area, and they have a whole setup there. Washington High School has it as well, but the players are able to go to the sideline and immediately see all their film from the last drive. And it really allows them to improve as the game goes along. As Gist looks for TQ Webb in the back corner of the end zone. Beyond the scope of our camera, again, our angle's kind of tough here in this Peoria Stadium press box. So that pass fell just incomplete, and it's 3rd and 2 with 18 seconds left on the Morris 19-yard line.
Still taking shots of the Lions, and kind of your point about the film. That's becoming more commonplace in the game. Modernize, get some new equipment and technology. We're seeing that all over. Sooner than later, it's going to be with every team.
3rd and 2 for Peoria. Give to Malachi Washington, and he just got across the line to gain. And that will be a first down for Peoria High. 18 seconds left on the clock, and it is ticking. Lions may just be content to have the clock run out and take a 60-34 lead into quarter number 4. Only one quarter stands between the Peoria High Lions and the IHSA State Finals. They have had a dominant performance today and just need 12 more minutes of good football to get there. Morris needs to come back in the final frame. Can they do it? Find out more after a word from our sponsors here on Clutch Sports Media.
I call David Hunt. When I need help for a case, I don't even consider anyone else. He has never made me feel like we were beating someone. It was always what's fair. What's fair? This is what's fair. This is what's right. This is what's for you. This is what you deserve. I like dealing with people like that. I'm not out to cheat anybody, and he's not either. Just what's fair.
Welcome back to Peoria Stadium, where the host Peoria Lions are 12 minutes away from punching their ticket to Champaign in the state finals next week. Lions have the football at the Morris 16-yard line, looking to extend their lead. Morris, there's been flashes in this half where it seems like they've been able to come back, but Peoria High's offense has been too much. And not that time, though. The defensive line for the Redskins makes a stop, and Washington is brought down in the backfield.
That's really the first run we've seen from Malachi Washington where he hasn't even been able to stumble forward for a few yards. Wrapped him up right there. He's had some great runs today. Finally found his number. Again, some time ticks off. 11 and a half minutes to go. Try to chew some clock away to a victory.
Gets rolling out, finds Hearn on the screen again. That led to the touchdown just a few minutes ago, but not the same fate this time around. It'll bring up 3rd and long for the Lions. And Gavin, at this point, I'm comfortable in saying it. Morris has to get a stop here. They can't let Peoria get in the end zone.
Yeah, everything is crucial. Again, every single drive, every single play, they can't afford to give up another score, and pretty much going to have to stick the Lions at 60 if they want any chance of coming back in this one.
They could give up a touchdown possibly, but it would require a lot out of Carter Button and their offense. Rolls out, finds his man. Oh, he had Ricky Hearn, but he bobbled it. That would have given the Lions a touchdown early in quarter 4, but Ricky Hearn, normally a sure-handed receiver, couldn't bring that one in. And that will bring up 4th down. Yeah, one thing I noticed about these Peoria High wide receivers is about 99% of the time, it seems like they catch every ball thrown their way. They have soft hands and they don't drop it very often.
They don't, but again, cold conditions, a long game, that's going to go into it. Again, I can't relate because I've never been a high school wide receiver or a wide receiver at any level for that matter of fact, but the cold is definitely playing a factor into that.
4th down for the Lions. Gist looking for Sean Franklin, and he can't get him. The other wide receiver, the senior for Peoria, slipped. Rather, Franklin, a junior. And Peoria will turn it over on downs. And that's where Morris has been able to take advantage when they've been able to stop Peoria, but those have been few and far between. Very clutch performance there from their defensive unit.
Sure has been, but now looking at the situation at hand, Morris, of course, trying to make a last-ditch effort, and time is against them. Of course, they need to have something positive go their way every drive, both offensively and defensively, and it's going to take a lot of passing. We've seen great throws from Carter Button, just a junior again. He's come a long way, but going to need to make some more magic here late in this game.
Four wide receiver set for Morris. He's looking for Knapp at the 40, and Knapp had it in his hands, and he can't believe he dropped it. Falls to the ground and puts his helmet in his hands. Oh, would he have loved to have that one, because he had some space if he would have beat one more guy.
The ball just trailing away, and it would have been a tough catch. Couldn't quite haul it in, but again, right idea. They know they're going to have to go to the pass. They know they're going to have to make something big happen. Clock stops with nothing else.
Clock stops, 10.5 minutes to play. Morris needs a furious comeback to go to state for the first time since 2017. This has been their deepest run since. And how about that catch? That was Luke Brown for Morris. The first time we've called his name today, or rather, no, that was Gage Phillips. His second reception of the game, and boy, that was a physical play he made there on the football. Looks like that ball could have been picked.
Could have, and perhaps was off the defender's hand. Eventually, Phillips came up with it. Under 10.5 minutes, though, big play to move the sticks.
They'll hand it off on the... Ashton Yard has room to run out across the midfield down to near the Peoria High 40. So Morris, again, still showing life. Nearing 10 minutes to play here in quarter number 4. Morris will need 4 scores and at least 1 2-point conversion to tie this ball game up. Although the hardest part of it is stopping the Lions on offense if they get the ball back.
That's very true. They would have to go back to the onside kick quite a bit, and they're two of 3, so that's a high percentage, all things considered. But keep going. Last 2 plays have been run plays. I think they got to open it back up in the air again. Just too much time is ticking off the clock because that is also one of their big enemies right now.
2nd and 6 from the Peoria High 37. Button in the shotgun with Yard to his right. Button looking deep. He is looking for Stark, and that's going to be a pass interference. A clear call there. As it looks like that was Caleb Lawson for Peoria High drawing the transgression there, and that will move Morris a bit closer to the end zone, it looks like.
Never turned around, and again, not much you can do if you're the official, but never turned around and was all up in the grill of Stark. Easy call for the officiating crew and keeps Morris moving. It's one thing they've done in the second half. They just keep moving, really not stifled too much. They've been scoring quite often.
Both offenses have looked very strong today. Morris averages about 38 points a game, nearing that marker right now against a stout Peoria defensive front that has 7 men on the line, and they're ready for Ashton Yard. A short gain there, and Gavin, again, it's easy to maybe play armchair quarterback, but seeing 7 guys on the line for Peoria High, I maybe would have audibled out of that.
Yeah, I probably would have as well. It's a game of adjustments, and I think that Morris has adjusted well, but again, you got to make those crucial adjustments. Go back to the pass like they are right now.
Button looking deep, flag flies, looking for Zweers, and it looks like that might be a hold of some sort. It might be on Peoria High.
It looks like it's going to be defensive holding on the DB there, waiting for the official call. But if I had to speculate, I think Morris is going to keep on moving forward.
A couple jump balls that really could go either way. Lots of grabbing being done between these Peoria secondary members and the Morris wideouts.
Indeed it is defensive holding. 8:48 to go. Fans don't particularly like it, John, but definitely some pushing and shoving, some extracurriculars on the play, definitely warranting a flag. And again, just kind of get caught up in the heat of the game, John. It's easy to get some of those penalties. We haven't seen too much laundry on the field throughout this game, but as of recent, it's been going against Peoria High, and Morris moves ever closer.
In the heat of the game, it's also kind of hard to forget the football sometimes. The ball is laying behind the end zone, and that pass is picked off, and there's more flags on the field. Caleb lost it for Peoria, picks it off, and before he is able to run it back for 6, or rather, that was actually Romy Walker with the pick for Peoria High, but it looks like that's going to be another flag on the Peoria secondary as a Morris receiver fell down in the end zone. It also looks like Walker may have stepped out of the back of the end zone if that play would have counted.
Officials conferring again, but I do think this is going to be defensive pass interference for, I believe, a 3rd play in a row. We've seen a penalty on the Lions. It is going to be, again, fans don't like it, but definitely some pushing, not allowing the Morris receivers to have any opportunity, and that is quite literally the definition of pass interference.
Quite literally is. A lot of these calls have been fairly clear-cut. Crowd doesn't like them, but some of them have been easy to call, and it looks like we will get a timeout from the Peoria High Lions with 8:36 on the clock to go here at Peoria Stadium. We'll take this opportunity to thank our great sponsors this afternoon, Jake Weston State Farm in Washington. For all your insurance needs, give Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. And also for our other great sponsors as well from State Farm, Jody Brown here in Peoria. Give her a call at 309-693-1103 or at jodybrawnagency.com. If you're near Pekin, hit up our guy, Zach Butler. Give him a call at 309-347-3115 or at sfbutler.com. Again, about 8:36 to go here at Peoria Stadium. And what will be the last game played at this historic venue before they do some renovations. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that there will be a turf installation here next year. I know there's been rumors of it. I don't know if anything's official. I know there's been talk about it.
There certainly has been talk, and it would go a long way for Peoria Stadium. Very historic stadium.
Lots of wins here for the Peoria High Lions over the last couple years. Button looking in the corner of the end zone for Zweers, and it was off his fingertips. Would have been a very tough ball to bring in, so that will bring up a 2nd and goal.
Didn't quite get a look at it. Again, kind of limited space here in the booth. Apologize for that, but Zweers wanted another DPI call, but it looked like pretty good coverage. Nice job from the defensive backs there to kind of tighten it up, not get extracurricular there with any pushing or shoving.
The Peoria High coaches, a couple others on the sideline, telling the fans to get pumped up, waving their arms up. Morris on their last gasp, potentially. They need 3 scores, and Zweers had open space to cut back and got tackled for loss. Rontavis Lee and Caleb Lawson making the stop for Peoria High. They'll bring up 3rd and goal from the 6.
Just a touch over 8 minutes now. Again, time ticking away. That's their enemy, John. They, perhaps if this game would have started like they started the second half, it'd been much closer, but Peoria High jumped out to a big lead, holding on to it so far.
Crowd continued to chant defenses. Button was looking for Zweers again, and that one went off of his hands. Gavin, I think that ball is becoming really hard to catch as these temps continue to dip in the late afternoon.
Certainly is, and I think that if Morris doesn't score a touchdown here, I do think the door perhaps shuts on any chance that they have. So do or die time from the Redskins. Peoria High has been fantastic in this game. Again, they've got a lot of an advantage right here and not too much left to chance, but one last opportunity for Morris. This could be it.
We have seen crazier things. As Button throws it out to Knapp. He's got the end zone. Will Knapp, the senior wide receiver, runs a flat route to the near side and beat his defender to the end zone. And Morris, when they needed a score, came up with one. And they now trail 60-40. And there's still 7:47 left on the clock. So a huge play there for the Redskins.
The door remains open for Morris. 7:47 isn't a lot of time, but I would say enough. Some things will certainly have to go in the favor of the Redskins.
Full house backfield, Button trying to get a push from the guys behind him, and he may have gotten in for 2. And then still waiting on the official call. Looks like he did. The line judge wanted a second opinion, but Morris does get in. That's at least what the scoreboard says. Referees are convening, though, so hold on just a second. And it is good for 2. Morris and Carter Button get a great push. And they get the full 8 points on that possession. So 2 huge plays for Morris. They trail by 18. So I think the goal for Morris was obviously to get as close as you can, but I think anything under 20 is more than manageable for them. And this is playoff football.
It sure is. It's just the time factor at this point. 7:47 to go, and again, that's just kind of what's going to hurt them. Again, it's been that back and forth that we expected early on. Didn't quite get that in the first half. It's proven true here in the last couple quarters. But again, will they have enough time to kind of keep that back and forth going, enough so they can get this in manageable distance, perhaps tie the game? Again, it's going to start with each and every play. And again, I got to think you're going back to the onside kick. Again, if you've joined us just recently, 2 onside kick recoveries from Morris in this ball game, so it's not impossible.
We'll see what happens here, and this one will not go 10 yards. It won't go even close. Peoria High will take over as the flag will fly. It'll just be Peoria football. That ball didn't even cross the 45-yard line, but onside kicks, Gavin, and I was never a kicker, and I never really was good at kicking a football in any fashion, but those are hard to do. And Peoria High will take over with 7:47 left.
Yeah, I'm not much of a football kicker either. It looks like just trying to catch him off guard, and you don't see him work too often. It's pretty rare you see multiple work in one game. Now both teams can say they've had that in this postseason. Multiple successful onside kick attempts. Just no dice there. Peoria High gets it, and 7:47 left to go. A chance to chew some clock.
Certainly. Can they hang on to the football? That's the biggest thing as Washington breaks past the 40. He got a huge block from Newbie Wholesome. He hurdles a man down to the goal line, and another one-play scoring drive from Malachi Washington. Every time Peoria gets the ball, they seem to score. How do you stop this team? Malachi Washington, a 40-plus yard touchdown run, and that is huge for the Lions, who now lead by 3 touchdowns and 3 two-point conversions.
That play started and ended with Landon Newbie Wholesome, also known to some as the Bone Crusher. He made a massive block that let Malachi have that room. Without that block, it's a solid run perhaps, maybe not any more than a first down. But Jen, just the little things, setting up Peoria High for 6 more.
Washington on the two-point conversion is good. And that will make it 68-42. Now officially the most points that Peoria High has scored in a single game this season. And they do it in the state semifinals against Morris, who allows less than 13 points per game. Unbelievable.
You might be thinking, man, maybe Peoria High setting a school record or something. They still haven't even come close to the school record of the amount of points that they've had.
The record was set back in their state title run back in 2016. They scored 805 points over the course of the season. with the 68 points they have now, they're now up to 672. So they still have another 133 to go.
Well, in one game even, in the playoffs, I believe it was that 2016 run, they nearly scored 100. They came one touchdown short. They scored 96 points. Unbelievable. They are no stranger to big numbers, and you think 68 is big, 96 is even bigger.
Lots of similarities, though, between these two teams, between 2016 and 2022 from Peoria High. The 2016 team won the state title, and this 2022 squad is 7 minutes and 27 seconds away from having that same possibility. Morris marched down the field, got a big touchdown. They needed it on 4th and goal, but just a heartbreaking scene on their sideline to see Malachi Washington just fly down the sideline and see Landon Newby Wholesome eating breakfast at 4:30 p.m. He's having some pancakes.
Couldn't have put it better, John. He is eating up, and like they'll say, the big dogs got to eat.
1st and 10 for Carter Button and Morris. Do they have a miraculous comeback left in them? He looks deep down the field looking for Phillips, and another catch in traffic made by the senior. That's the second big catch we've seen from him today, and that gets down to the Peoria High 45. And Morris, again, they have life.
Always a little bit left in the tank just when you think they're down and out. Always going to show something, and shows just how good Carter Button is. He's going to come back next year and be phenomenal, win or lose in this game.
Morris set up for lots of success next year, and that pass is batted. Almost picked off Gary Rutherford, the linebacker, with a deflection there, and he makes sure the sideline knows it too. Incomplete.
7:06 to go, and Gary Rutherford shutting it down. How about the Rutherfords today? We know they're good on defense, but showing exactly why, coming up with big play after big play as Morris continues to go to the air in do-or-die time. Nice job there from the Lions secondary.
A touch over 7 minutes to go here in quarter number 4. Morris, can they slap Peoria back? Button drops back looking deep down the field again. He was looking for Phillips. That pass out of bounds. No chance for the wideout to catch that, bringing up a 3rd and 10.
7 minutes even. The clock stops with the incompletion, but just got to keep taking those deep shots. The only way they can do it. I've been very impressed, though, with Carter Button. You know, looking at some of his stats and some of his film, he's an accurate passer, has a big arm, but is showing why, and he's only getting better.
Button advances in the pocket. Can he escape pressure? He beats a tackle, gets spun around, and he'll pick up a short gain. So something better than nothing there for the Morris QB. But this is at 4th down, down 26, 6 minutes, and about 6.5 minutes to go. They have to get this, I would think.
Yeah, again, just do or die time. There's no other way to describe it. Got to make something happen. Crowd gets fired up for 4th down. They can smell it.
Button rolls out to the right. His men are covered. He's got to throw in traffic and nothing doing. Almost picked off, but the result is still the same. Peoria High will take possession with 6 minutes and 16 seconds left on the clock. And that's just one step closer to champagne for this Lions squad.
They can smell it, John. It is so close. Fans are loving it. Going nuts is the sideline. It's been a fun game, and they're not done yet. They want to live to see another day. They want to take it all the way down to Memorial Stadium. 6 minutes and 16 seconds stand in their way.
Handoff up the middle goes to about midfield. Yeah, and one thing, another similarity I saw between this Lions team and the one in 2016, both have one loss, at least the 2022 team does up until this point. But back in Week 9 in 2016, Peoria suffered a Week 9 loss to Galesburg, and it seemed like it turned out to actually kind of benefit them because they know what they did wrong as a flag flies, some movement before the snap, possibly on the Morris side. But that loss against Galesburg kind of maybe grounded them and got them ready to go for state, maybe just lit a fire under them, thinking like, hey, we don't want to lose like this again. It'll be a false start for Peoria. Crowd doesn't like it. And again, though, have they seen the offense? I don't know if it'll make much of a difference, at least so far. But again, you look at the Peoria team from this year in Week 8, a loss to Normal West by 24 points, 30-6. We were at that game. And it seems like since that game, they've also came back better than ever.
A chance to recalibrate as Washington tears off another big run.
And here he goes. Malachi Washington struts into the end zone for another touchdown. 56 yards, and Peoria High has just hung 70 on Morris. Malachi Washington. The two names, it's really one name. 2 words, one name you need to know.
I'm speechless, John. I mean, I think they need a plaque with all the great running backs of over the Tim Thornton era, and you got to etch his name into that immediately. Geno Hess, Eddie Clark, Malachi Washington, the trifecta of running backs in this Tim Thornton era. He's just doing everything.
2-point conversion from Gist to Ricky Hearn. An impressive catch in traffic. And that's just salt in the wound for Morris. Peoria High, barring a movie-like comeback or a Hollywood scene, will go to the 5A state championship game after scoring 76 with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. Gavin, going into this game, again, if we don't have official stats here in front of us right now, and we didn't have an exact count of how many rushing yards Malachi Washington had going into this game, but we knew it was close to 2,700. That's one of that's what one of their coaches said, before the game. And he said that he needs a little over 300 to get to 3,000 touchdowns on the year. I guess that he is either at that
3,000 touchdowns?
Or 3,000 yards, I should say.
Okay, I was a little...
Sometimes it seems like 3,000 touchdowns.
That's true.
But regardless, an incredibly special season for Malachi Washington and the Peoria High Lions that will live to see another week. Hearn kicks it away, and Stark will take it for Morris at the 21. Out across the 30, runs into a guy, and it's tackled shortly after at the Morris 32-yard line. Gavin, you have a score update from the other semifinal game, a much closer game.
Very shocked that this final score, no longer undefeated, is Sycamore. Sycamore goes down 10-7, shutout in the second half by Nazareth Academy. 10-7, final score. Nazareth Academy will be playing in Champaign. The winner of this one, could it be Peoria Nazareth Academy?
It is certainly looking like it, almost a guarantee. But wow, Nazareth Academy came into the playoffs, Gavin, I believe, if memory serves me right, as a 13 seed with a record of 5-4. They only made 11 seed rather. They lost one more game, they wouldn't have even had the chance to go to the playoffs, and here they are in the state title game, but they played a very tough schedule.
They did, and you got to factor that in. They're not that typical 5-4, team that comes in maybe just kind of hobbling into the playoffs. They played a heck of a schedule, and proving why they're battle-tested, taking down the undefeated Sycamore Spartans. Not a great day for the Interstate 8 Conference, but great job from the Roadrunners.
Kishwaukee River / Interstate 8 Conference, very strong. And Sycamore in the semifinals. Obviously, Morris as well. Rochelle made it to the quarterfinals as well. So a very strong conference that Morris plays in. They're battle-tested every year. So the handoff goes to Ashton Yard, the senior running back for Morris. But both teams in that conference look like their season ends here, and the road to state turns into a dead end. Nazareth Academy looking like they will face Peoria High, and so we see the rush here from Jacob Swartz across the 45-yard line and pick up of a couple. Nazareth Academy and Peoria High have a common opponent, and that's Kankakee, Gavin. Do you remember what happened in week 1? A little trivia question for you. Do you remember what happened in week 1 between Nazareth Academy and Kankakee?
Well, I will certainly get this one right if I'm playing the game show. I'm winning the prize. 2-0. What a final score.
Indeed, a 2-0 final score. Nazareth took down Kankakee, who Peoria beat in the second round 2 weeks ago, 48-21. That will be a barn burner down in Champaign. Nazareth Academy better get their defense ready, because Peoria High has scored no less. In all of their wins, at least, they have scored no less than 34 points, and that was the week 1 forfeit against Metamora. So, when you look at their numbers they've put up, Gavin, 62, 64, 64, 66, 54, 62, and they put up 76 against Morris as Caleb Lawson continues to bring the energy. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in quarter number 4.
Peoria High has just proven true time and time again that this style of play works. Again, it's not a style that works for every team. You would say, well, why doesn't every team just adopt this fast-paced mentality up and down the field? It doesn't work for everybody. It depends on how you can coach your guys up, what personnel you have. But Peoria High has mastered it, and they've just created an absolute machine.
But in looking deep for the end zone, that might be Phillips. And that is in. How about that impressive touchdown catch from Gage Phillips? This game will likely out of reach, but a great memory that Phillips, the senior wide receiver, will take with him. He's put together a heck of a second half, making some very tough catches. I got to give some major props to him. He's played some very good football here, laying it all out in the field in what will be his final high school game.
Yeah, despite giving up 76, Morris has hung 48. They've scored quite a few points and a chance to get to 50, so it's not like the offense hasn't worked for the Redskins. It's just kind of come at the wrong time and not quite enough to keep them in this contest, but certainly a lot of good things to take away. Carter Button, as he'll keep it himself, will he get in for 2? Looks like he will. He's made multiple excellent passes today, John, putting it right on the dot, especially in cold conditions in a game you're pretty much demoralized at this point, still making those throws. That's a really good sign if you're a Morris fan that Carter Button is going to lead this Morris team to more success next season.
Certainly, lots of things to look forward to for Morris as they get to 50. No team has done that or really come close for that matter against Peoria High. The most points that they've allowed this year is 30. So still something to hang your hat on there for Morris. A very, very strong performance for them. They just have ran into a buzzsaw that is Peoria High. And for Morris, Gavin, we were looking at a lot of their players last night, and football is in the future for a lot of them. Justin Hemmersbach, a senior lineman, he has offers from Valpo and Olivet Nazarene. Justin Newman, their offensive lineman, has interest from Missouri Western. Nick Perry, another offensive lineman, offers from Ball State. or interest from Ball State. Offers from Roosevelt, a couple other smaller schools. Aiden King, a senior, again, likely suiting up for the last time as a Morris Redskin. He's got interest from Illinois State, Western Illinois. Lots of other seniors, though. Sam Redinger, again, committed to Northern Iowa, so this is not the last football game of their careers for lots of these Morris seniors.
No, it's not. They are definitely going on for bigger and better things. They've had great careers. You know, looks like it's going to come to an end here in the semifinal. They go with the onside kick again. Looks like Peoria will jump on it. But definitely a great showing and great careers from Morris.
And it looked like a Redskin came out of the pile with that. Dimitri Lindemuth. However, I don't know how much scrapping he needed to do to get that football. Peoria High may have came down with it, and then Lindemuth is snatched out the last second, and it will be Morris football. So, Morris is not done yet. It will take a mountain to climb in the last 2 minutes and 41 seconds, but they do have the ball, and the possibility is still there.
That is one of the more absurd calls I've ever seen. I was certain that Peoria High jumped on it on the ground, which would immediately have made them down. Morris player kind of came in late. I forgot who you said that would have been. But Lindenmuth, yes. He came in late, ripped it away. Again, I think it should have been Peoria High ball. Tim Thornton thinking the same thing. But, again, officials call it. Morris takes the football as we will get a stoppage before the snap.
Lots of whistles blow. We don't see a flag on the field. Looks like Peoria High will call a timeout here with 2.5 minutes left to go here in the second half. We'll take a quick timeout to thank our wonderful sponsors from State Farm, starting with Jake Weston in Washington. For all your insurance needs, auto, home, or life, give Jake a call at 309-444-4441 or visit jakewestoninsurance.com. And for our other good neighbors from State Farm as well, like Jody Brown in Peoria at 309-693-1103, or visit jodybrown.agency.com, or Zach Butler over in Pekin. Give him a call at 309-347-3115 or at sfbutler.com. So Morris clinging to any sort of life that they have in the last 2 minutes and 35 seconds. They are down 3 scores. They've recovered 2 onside kicks here in this second half. Rather make that 3 now, after that most recent one, rather. 3 for 4. Button looking deep. Physical play on the football, and there is a flag called. Another pass interference here for Peoria High. And they continue to leave the door open for Morris. That's something that I think has got to get fixed before the state finals, Gavin. I'm sure Tim Thornton's not too happy about all these pass interference that his secondary has committed.
Yeah, you got to finish strong. That's something that they preach at Peoria High. You know, you start strong, you finish strong. Something they want to continue to do, and got to play a complete game. If you don't play a complete game, it's not going to win you a state title. So a lot of things to clean up here. Definitely going to be some things to watch, and it'll be defensive pass interference. Although, unlike in pro, it's not going to go to the spot of the foul. Rather, it'll just be 15 yards.
And that pass didn't look like it was within the range of, I believe it was Phillips, who Button was looking for. So certainly could have gone without that flag for Peoria High. But if there's any positive there, it took 6 seconds off the clock, and every second counts. 2:29 left to go here in quarter number 4 in what has been an offensive explosion for both teams.
Only getting colder too, John. More unbearable as the evening sets in.
The sun starting to fade behind the clouds. Morris hoping that their season will not fade likewise. Button way overthrows Zweers. Looks like they were on the same page. That'll bring up a second down. Button will stay out there with 4 wide receivers on the field, as it is getting very chilly at Peoria High. Temperature 26, feels like 14. I'd argue to say that it feels like single digits. I cannot feel my toes.
I would agree with that. I'm sure that our other 2 loyal employees here of Clutch Sports would agree as well. Get a flag before the snap. Getting more flags, so you want to keep finishing. You don't want to be able to let it slip away, because, again, things like this are going to hurt you in the long run, especially if you can get to that state title game.
The offside for Peoria High, but again, they still lead by 3 scores. Timeout will be taken here. Another timeout for Peoria High, so Tim Thornton making sure that his guys know what they need to improve on. Again, if you just joined us a couple minutes ago, Peoria High, as long as they can hang on, will play Nazareth Academy from LaGrange Park near Chicago in the state title game, barring a miraculous turn of events. The Roadrunners will go into that game 9-4. Not too often you see a 4-loss team in the state championship game, Gavin.
No, you don't see that too often, but again, you got to create the magic at the right time. Certainly with some potential to do something special. See if Peoria has an answer for him. Just got to finish out the last 2 minutes here.
Button looking for his guy, and he's got... That was Will Knapp for another touchdown. So Morris continues to put points on the board, and if you would have told me coming into this game that Morris would have put up 56, I would have told you, well, who are they playing the state title game? But they're still down by 20. Again, 2 minutes and 17 seconds left to go, and the onside kick is a beautiful thing.
Worked 3 times in this game. That's almost unheard of. I'm sure somebody out there has some odd records and things that they keep. I wonder what the record for most onside kicks recovered in a game is.
I wonder that as well, as a Button. Oh, there's some pushing and shoving after the play. Redinger from Morris. Looks like he shoved Gary Rutherford. There's flags all over the field. This ball game is getting chippy. We're still going. This is not what you want to see in a 20-point game in the state semifinals. Pushing and shoving all across, and both players head back to their sidelines. Tempers have reached a boiling point here at Peoria Stadium. Carter Button, the QB keeper, the 2-point conversion was unsuccessful. And Tim Thornton is livid.
Definitely wants his guys to settle down. You can't afford to have tempers overflow like that. Although a lot of it provoked there by Morris. And again, the junior quarterback Button coming in a couple times, doing some pushing and shoving and things. But Thornton, got to keep your guys under control as well. And again, little things to clean up as they look like they're going to head into next weekend. Got to stay focused.
Peoria High sideline getting hyped up. They're using that little shoving match to possibly get themselves energized, maybe reset. They still lead by 20 with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left to go. On Morris's sideline, a lot more somber mood. They know that they will need a Hollywood ending to reach Champaign in the state title game. A lot different scene this week for Morris, who last week they did not like when Muhammad Seymour came to their place and planted a Bulldogs flag at midfield before their game. They didn't like that. They took offense to that. There was some chirping before the game, and Morris was able to back up that chippiness, I guess we'll call it, with a 35-14 win, and some chippiness here as well. But this time, it does not look like it will favor Morris. There was a personal foul call on the Redskins, so this onside kick will come from the 25-yard line. Certainly will not help the visitors if they were to recover. Can they get their fourth onside kick recovery in the second half? Ball travels 10 yards, picked up by Hearn, and he hangs on to it. He was being hounded there by Lindemuth. He's trying to rip that ball out, but props to Ricky Hearn, the Peoria High receiver, hanging on to that football.
Takes a lot of guts. See two dudes running at you full speed, and you're able to hang on to it in the cold. That's some good veteran play right there from Ricky Hearn, the senior wide receiver. He's been fantastic in this game, both sides of the ball. He's going to be a big key to that state final appearance that they're likely to make next weekend. Again, against Nazareth Academy, upsetting Sycamore. They're having a pretty special postseason of their own.
Peoria High leads by 20. This fourth quarter seems like it's going on for quite some time, and Morris is still not done. They light up Frank Odom in the backfield, and they'll likely call a timeout. And they do not. Clock running 2 minutes exactly now. So, Morris, that may be the white flag. Content to not stop the clock anymore. 20 points in 2 minutes would be a very, almost impossible and possibly high mountain to climb. Minute 42. Now 100 seconds left for Peoria. They are in no hurry.
Let the clock roll. Give it to Odom. He's had a great game, but getting some late reps here, and clock's just going to tick away, John. So Peoria High heading back to the state finals.
What a dominating performance from the Lions, as the Redskins will take their first timeout with 1:20 left. But it is all but official at this point. Peoria High will go to the state finals for the first time since 2016. This is their third semifinal appearance under head coach Tim Thornton. They will move to 2-1 in state semifinal games since his tenure, and they will look for their second state title in 6 years. Gavin, we knew that this would be a special team going into the season. We did previews for every high school football team in the Peoria area. And after doing those, I kind of had a guess or a feel of how many teams, or what teams were state contenders. And near the top of my list, along with a couple others, was Peoria High.
They've had that feel all season long. Every time I've talked to Tim Thornton, Landon Newby-Holsom, all these guys, they've been fantastic. They've got that tight team bond. They really just have the right mindset and execution. Big run right there from Frank Odom, but this is a team that has all the makings. They are an incredibly special group, and something that no matter who your allegiance to is throughout the regular season for high school football, if you're from Central Illinois, you're from the River City, you better be backing the Lions come next week. They need all the support they can get down in Champaign. Cheer the Lions on to possibly another state title, because again, this is a very, very special group, a group very deserving of each win that they've had.
Clock under 50 seconds. Tino Gist, the Peoria High quarterback, will take a knee, and all he has to do is kneel it one more time, and then you can put it in the books. Peoria High will beat Morris 76-56. The Redskins allowed less than 13 points per game, and the Peoria High offense was no match for them. Really, nobody has been a match for them the entire season, and time has now officially expired. The Peoria High Lions are at a state title berth in Class 5A. They pick up their 12th win of the season in dominating fashion against the Morris Redskins. 76-56 is your final score from Peoria Stadium. The Lions are going to state.
Unbelievable. Worked for is coming true, and I would think that a lot of the teams they've played are probably pretty happy for them getting to that point and say they've played a team that could be a state champion. Nonetheless, Peoria High just done a great job this season. Fantastic year from the Lions, and got me thinking, John, I know we've got a busy week next week, but wonder who from our CSM crew could maybe provide a little coverage or a little update of that game. I know we've got some Champaign contingents, but certainly hoping for best for the Lions, even though we probably won't be there. It's going to be a fun weekend for Peoria High.
Again, we want to thank all of our viewers. We'll recap the game, but again, we want to thank all of our viewers for a fantastic football season, and thank you to everybody across Central Illinois for all their loyal viewership and tuning in to these playoff games and games all throughout the regular season. Again, it's a very good chance that this will be our last football broadcast. Next week we'll be at the Kevin Brown Memorial Tournament of Champions in Washington. It's nearly basketball season, but the Peoria High Lions are still playing football after Thanksgiving. What a team and what a year this has been. Really, the only other team you can compare it to, Gavin, is that 2016 state title squad, and they have a chance to live up to that standard that that team from 6 years ago set.
Yeah, and I think, again, the similarities are just so evident. I think that, number one, you've got those top tier, those star players, those guys that are going to fill up the stat sheet, the guys you see in the newspaper, you read the articles, you see on the videos and whatnot. You've got those guys, Malachi Washington. I would even venture to say Landon Newby-Holsom is definitely in that category. Tino Gist, Ricky Hearn, the list goes on and on. You go back to 2016, you've got now NFL lineman Kendrick Green was on that team. Geno Hess, Karan Taylor, among so many others. The other similarity, they have all those unsung heroes, those guys that maybe you don't really remember 6 years later, but those are the guys that help win that state title. And Peoria High has a bunch of those guys this season. They're a close team. For the most part, they're pretty disciplined and, of course, incredibly dynamic. This is a very special Peoria High group, definitely one for the history books.
One for the history books, for sure. The Peoria High Lions. Really one of the only teams from Central Illinois to be playing in a state title game. Shows how special their season and how special their team is. For Morris, it's the end of the line for them. A spectacular season in which they finish 10-3. Their 9th playoff appearance under head coach Alan Thorson. It's a team, Gavin, that really just perennially you expect to be a powerhouse. They have lots of weapons ready for next year, like Carter Button, a couple others as well, like AJ Zweer, and lots of others. But overall, a great season for Morris. They gave Peoria High all they could handle, put up 56 points on them, and really even to the last whistle, they were playing hard, and it's really a tough, gritty, and very skilled football team. Congratulate Morris on their great season and all the success that they had.
Yeah, it was a great season for Morris, and again, a lot of guys going to bigger and better things at the college level, even the guys that aren't. A lot of them are multi-sport athletes, so they've got basketball season ahead, baseball season ahead, and looking to be successful there as well. Morris is just great athletics, great program, and I would expect nothing less than Morris to be back on the big stage of the high school playoffs next season. They've got a great program and something that will not cease.
Morris has won 3 state titles in program history. Unfortunately, they will not win a 4th. Peoria High has won 1 state title back in 2016. and they have the opportunity to add to their trophy case next week as they will play Nazareth Academy in the 5A state title game in Champaign. That about wraps it up here from Peoria State. I want to give a massive shout out to our crew, small but mighty and braving the elements today. Our camera operator, Charlie Schermerhorn, and our producer, Teddy Ball, doing fantastic work today and all throughout the regular season. Big shout out to the rest of our crew that helped us all throughout the regular season and playoffs for football. And trust me, we'll be ready for basketball coming up next week. Not much of a break before the Tournament of Champions in Washington starts. Stay tuned to our social media pages for updates regarding that. Should be lots of fun. But Peoria High will leave Peoria Stadium the victors, heading down to Champaign with a 76-56 victory. For my broadcast partner, Gavin Russell, I am Jonathan Michael saying so long and thank you for a fantastic football season from Clutch Sports Media. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time that you tune in. So long, everybody.